Conditions and restrictions apply.
The officers who ran toward the gunman during a deadly shooting at the University of North Carolina Charlotte campus yesterday are being hailed as heroes.
Today I brought forth two of our officers that were the first officers on the scene in the Kennedy building.
Campus Chief Jeff Baker.
They acted exactly as trained, and that is, we don't sit, we don't wait, we go.
He's praising the quick apprehension of the suspect who killed 2 and wounded 4, 3 of them critically injured, on the last day of classes. Meantime, the UNC chancellor confirming at that news briefing just a short time ago they will continue as planned with the schedule for final exams and graduation. May Day, otherwise known as International Workers' Day, is being marked around the world.
Most dramatically in Paris, France, where protesters clashed with police, resulting in injuries and over 200 arrests. Greece and other European countries also marked the day. All told, some 66 nations around the world recognize the day as an official holiday. Russia, where there was always a big, well-orchestrated turnout, saw some 100,000 take part in a rally in Moscow. Many countries across the economically booming Asia marked the day. Folks demanding improved working conditions and wider labor rights. The day, in fact, actually originated in the U.S. with the labor action in 1886 in support of an 8-hour workday.
Fox's Greg Palcott. Nearly 70 protesters detained at one rally in Russia, some of them holding signs calling the Russian president immoral. On the streets of Venezuela, it appears to be the second day of an uprising that the disputed president Nicolas Maduro had claimed was already defeated. The self-proclaimed interim leader Juan Guaido had appealed for the uprising to continue today. Recapping Wall Street, a late sell-off. The Dow drops 163. The S&P and the Nasdaq also lower. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Get a half-gallon of Minute Maid orange juice for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a half-gallon of Dairy Gold milk for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a $7 meal for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic in Pica's Best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at FHPGuam.com.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The homeless feeding program at the Dededo Senior Center was canceled yesterday following complaints of vandalism and fighting by some of the patrons. The program provided free meals for the homeless in the island's most populous village. It was sponsored by the Archdiocese of Agana Ministry to the Homeless, Kamalan Caridad. Dededo Mayor Melissa Savares was off island yesterday, but Vice Mayor Frank Benavente told the Guam Daily Post that the program was shut down because the senior center was being damaged and there was violence among some of those who attended. Kamalan Caridad program coordinator Doris Royal said it's only a temporary setback. She said they still want to continue the program. Royal said that the feeding center at the Kamalan Caridad location in Agana is still operating 7 days a week, and they're working on opening another feeding center in Tamuning as soon as next week. She declined to say the location for the new feeding center, but an agreement, she said, is expected to be reached soon, and she hopes the new location can be announced by this weekend. Guam lawmakers last night voted to approve a measure that lays out the rules and regulation for games of chance at the Guam Island Fair and Liberation Day Carnival. The vote on Senator Jose Terlahi's Bill 101 was 10-5, with Senators Talina Nelson, Sabina Perez, Therese Terlahi, Regine Bisco-Lee, and Mary Torres voting against it. Passage of the bill, followed by the governor's expected signature, will clear the way for the Mayor's Council of Guam to issue a request for proposals from vendors interested in sponsoring those games of chance, which will include casino-style card games like Texas Hold'em. Mayor's Council of Guam Executive Director Angel Sablan has said that the funds raised from the winning bidders for those games of chance are needed to pay for all the Liberation Day festivities. He has expressed concern that time is running out. The start of the carnival is on June 5th. Yesterday's session lasted about 5 hours, and it was entirely devoted to the debate on Bill 101. We'll have more news after this.
Let's see now. Fast, easy, affordable. That's the best way to describe my home loan at Bank Pacific. Fast because we give quick decisions. Easy because we've cut back on the paperwork. Affordable because today's home loan rates are still so low. So see us today to refinance or consolidate or to buy or build your new home and save yourself some money.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igomamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Port Authority of Guam board member Maria Taitno will not step down from the Port Board. That leaves governor's nominee Camilla Leon Guerrero Durking in limbo. Following the monthly board meeting Tuesday, Taitno told the Guam Daily Post that she intends to stay on until her term of service ends in June next year. In a letter to Taitno on March 11th, the governor wrote that she was exercising her authority to make an appointment to Taitno's position on the board. However, Taitno says the governor doesn't have that authority to remove her, citing a 2013 opinion from the Attorney General's office, which states that a board member may only be removed for cause upon charges following a hearing. The reason for that, states the opinion, is to insulate the board directors from political interference. The governor had appointed Camilla Durking to fill Taitno's seat on the board, and Durking was widely praised during her confirmation hearing on April 17th. But Committee Chairman Senator Clint Rigel telling the Guam Daily Post that he will not report Durking's nomination out of his committee unless there is a vacancy to fill on the Port Board. A stranded traveler was the welcome recipient of Guam's hospitality this past week after arriving on island unsure where he was or how he got here. 70-year-old retiree Earl Allen arrived last week on Wednesday. He told the Guam Daily Post that he was vacationing in Manila when he boarded a flight back to the States, but somehow ended up here on Guam. Allen said that he arrived with little money and no ticket out. He was able to pay for a one-night stay at the Wyndham Garden, but then ended up back at the airport where he slept on a bench for 5 days. That's where United Airlines team leader Audibert Lizama encountered him on Monday and extended a helping hand. Lizama said his customer service team likes to help people, and word spread, and soon airport police, ticket agents, and others were stopping by Allen's bench at the airport with water and food. Some others brought him a set of fresh clothes and toiletries. On Wednesday, Lizama donated his personal Mileage Plus miles to purchase Allen a ticket back home to Boise, Idaho. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at the weather.
I tell you what, that kid deserves a medal. Can you imagine how many miles it would take to get somebody from here one way all the way out to Boise, Idaho? How about that? Good on you, good on you. God doesn't sleep, and there will be a reward somewhere for that. 6:12 in the morning, what have we got here? Partly cloudy skies, isolated showers, easterly winds up to about 15 miles an hour today. Highs 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 77. A little bit of variety in the forecast, and some of you that woke up early might recognize there's wetness on the roads here. We got some rain overnight.
Yeah, some rain moved on through, and looks like it'll continue moving through as we get through. And looking at radar, we'll see what's happening. These showers actually coming up from the southeast. Got a pretty heavy shower getting ready to move over the north. And this is going to be kind of what happens because we've got a very weak tropical disturbance. It's been identified as 90 W invest, and we'll see that on satellite here in just a moment. And that thing is starting to spin up a little bit far down to our southwest, and so that's why we're under the influence of this more of a southeasterly flow. Now, if we look on satellite here, it gets a little confusing because you've got the low clouds moving from right to left and the upper level clouds moving in different directions. But you've got that, this is also called outflow, and so it's really a good sign of a developing system down there. The fact of the matter is the dynamics aren't quite right for a strong storm. But this thing is going to spin up into something and kind of drift off to the north. And as it does, it's going to drag some of this moisture with it and bring it right over us, much as what we're getting right now.
Which we need.
Yeah, absolutely we need it. Long-range models also showing some blobbage off to the southeast that we can't quite see on the satellite here right now, but showing that to move through the area sometime next week and actually bring us a good dose of rain. Again, it's 10 days in the future, so we can't be too optimistic about that. But there are hints that there are some changes starting to take place.
Very, very good. So we finally gotten some variety in the forecast. Sunset tonight, 6:36. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:59 or so. It's 5:59 this morning. 6:14. That's news and weather together here on The Point. Brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Docomo Pacific's all-new business bundles provide tailored solutions to help your business become a better business. Choose from our business basic, essential, or value bundles and get unlimited talk and text, worry-free data at home and abroad, plus access to the fastest online speeds in the Marianas. Add on mobile or broadband lines and save up to 20% for each line. Email businesssales@docomopacific.com to find out which bundle provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey! Just thought I'd start off the show that way. Hey, portions of the program are brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your specialty care needs. American President lines their shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar. Of course, the guys at Cars Plus, they call them Cars Plus because it's Cars Plus. Motorcycles? Yeah, maybe a brand you've heard of, like Harley Davidson. Find that over at Cars Plus in Mighty. And if you're going to get hungry for breakfast, our recommendations, our suggestion is the Crazy 19 menu. Get Kings. And you might be wondering why they call it the Crazy 19. Is it only there's 19 items in the menu? There's plenty of items in the menu. Appetizers, entrees, desserts, things like that. But they've all been hacked, if you will, and reimagined. And they did this over the holidays, and everybody liked it, so they're keeping it all the way through the year. The Crazy 19 menu at King's.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Okay. I'm trying really hard not to overcompensate. Mike said yesterday that I was going too fast. I was overcompensating for not feeling good and having the Dayquil in my system and a lot of caffeine and a lot of sugar and stuff. I'm just excited to be here, guys. But I'll see if I can take it a little bit slower this morning as we make our way into the beginning of the Thursday Fry show. It's kind of that's the way we look at it. Today is the ramp into Friday, which is the ramp into the weekend. And for us here that do the morning show, frankly, our weekend starts about 10 o'clock on Friday morning. So that's the good way it always feels for us as we start thinking about this late part of the week here. 6:16 in the morning, and we'll look at the Facebook Live in just a second. But first, I wanted to acknowledge the presence, as I do every day, of Michael Knight, my weather whisperer here, and a little bit excited because of the additional rain and the precipitation that we received this morning.
That's right, and I brought vodka, so I'm going to start my weekend right now.
How about that?
It looks like water.
That was always my line with the teachers at school. No, really, it's water. And they said, Ray, you can't do this middle school here. You know,
they frown on that.
Stay up on this. 6:17 in the morning. Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post and some interesting stories. And I got to tell you, the tips tips work, ladies and gentlemen? I got yesterday a note from an astute listener, said, hey, you guys got to find out what's going on with the homeless feeding program that they've got up in Datadoo. They've stopped doing it, and I just said, I'll look into it. And when I say I'll look into it, means I'm going to take the information that you give me and then give it to Kevin Kerrigan, and he will look into it. And that turned into a front page story in today's Guam Daily Post. Homeless feeding program on hold up there. I guess we've got some guys that will show up drunk or get in fights and trash the place. And the mayor said, no, you cannot do that here anymore. So they put a halt to it. More on that story in a little bit. A couple of other interesting mayoral stories that we'll get to. The mayors are all over the news there today. They're expressing their frustration with basically wild youth running rampant in the villages. And I got a great quote I'll share with you in a minute. And they ought to be happy now. Angel Sablan should be one of the happiest mayoral-type guys out there. He's the boss of the Mayor's Council on Guam. And he will be smiling with those with the new bling that he got, the new teeth bling that he got after he got that raise. Anyway, so it should be smiling wide now because they've approved apparently over at the legislature, and I didn't know this was coming. I was actually surprised when I got in this morning and saw the news in the Post that they'd taken a look at the rules and the regulations that had been proposed by the mayors and have about ratified those over at the legislature. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about that and more. So big time deal for all of that. And we'll talk about all kinds of things as the program continues. But by way of commencing the program, the real heroes of the show.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
You know what? And there's so many people that are on early this morning, and everybody's saying hi to each other that I have no idea who the top five were. I know who number one was. John Ray Uggan came in first. So I'm going to start with Bob O'Malley, Lynn Vince, Borja Polino. I got Juanita Macchi online. Jackie Cabrera. Good morning. Lillian Cruz. Nate Horn is up. Ismail, apparently somebody had convinced him to reboot his computer just before 6 o'clock this morning. And it, like all computer reboots these days, is it me or if you've got a Windows computer, you ever get that feeling like if I reboot this computer, it's going to take 2 hours to reboot because Windows will want to put in all kinds of new software. It'll update stuff. It'll do the virus check and all of those things, and it'll be a while before you can actually get around to using your computer. It's a fear that I have. It's one of these niggling kind of in the back of my head. Just let it run until it goes off by itself.
So you're saying you don't update yours as you go?
I very rarely turn off my computers. I live in a world with two different kinds of computers. The computers that we use here in the shop, the computers that are right in front of me right now, are all Windows computers. Right? State-of-the-art software, all fully licensed. It's all sweet stuff. And like I said, every once in a while, I'll get one of these things that says, hey, how about restarting your computer? Or it'll slow down to a point. It's another sneaky suspicion that I have that Windows will actually send other packets of information and instructions to your computer, i.e. Ray Gibson hasn't updated the software in a long time. So whatever program he's using right now, make it stop. Make it slow down, make it go haywire until I'm forced to reboot the computer.
Yeah, because it couldn't possibly have anything to do with Windows actually updating their software so those programs will run smoothly.
Right. No. Do it the hard way. So the other computer that I use in the rest of my life is an Apple computer. And with one exception, actually two exceptions. It's for the most part the same computer I bought years ago that Shelley picked up at Pop's house and hand-carried home. For the most part, it's the same computer until right after the warranty ran out, and then I had to replace the motherboard. And then I don't know, a year after that, the motherboard was fine, and then the warranty on the hard drive went out, and of course it did too. So I had to replace the hard drive on it. But otherwise, I'm okay. And that computer, it just chugs along. I can't remember the last time I actually had to restart it. It was because there was a change, an update in the Apple software, and that required a restart. Randy Kruger's online. I see from L.A. Renee Diaz Punzalan is there. Nick Perlowski and James Howard. Dr. McNugget is still butterhurt. The word you're looking for is butthurt. And what is this Dr. McNugget thing? What are you going on about already? Charlene Marchachot is there. Dennis Bensour, Carlos Barreto, Gina Kono. Calling in from retirement. Ismail says, distracted ironing the kids. Sorry, let me just look at the whole thing. Oh, sorry. Distracted ironing the kids' school uniforms. Not going to risk getting burned. No one would file my claim that the point was the cause of my iron burn.
You know, in some states, you can iron the kids.
Yeah, right. Rico Blancaflor is there. Who else is playing around? Ken Leon Guerrero, Guam Daily Post headline on CCU reminds me of Animal Farm. Rule number 7, all animals are created equal, but some animals are more equal than other. Reference to a story on the front page of today's Guam Daily Post that says the CCU has denied the request for pay raise records using the Freedom of Information Act. Folks over, in fact, Kevin Kerrigan, who I might talk to about this story here in a second, wanted to get information about the executive session, and they said, no, we cannot have that. We're not going to give that to you. We don't see any reason why there's anything productive can come out of it. It's like being out after midnight. Nothing good comes from being out after midnight. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah, so it's the same thing. So the folks over at the Consolidated Commission on Utilities and their secretary, Lou Sablon, said that we held the executive session was held to perform personnel evaluations of several employees of GWA and GPA. Disclosure of the minutes would be unwarranted. Now, Kevin did exactly what I would have done after that, and that is lawyer up. and who do we know that's got a JD? Guy that does the afternoon show here on The Point. More on that as the program continues. Doris Mendiola is there. I see Gwen is online getting ready for class today. Felix Regis, John Sinicolas, Francis Salas, Mark Mendiola, Greg Carebrock from Take Care's online, half a day from Eric McKinnon, Bob Lizama, Linda Gabriel, Bert Duarte, and Cheryl Ochai, Mark Cruz checking in, Patty Santiago, half a day, Ken Liguatnia, and Dwayne Santos, Bob O'Malley asking if I watched the USAG at the Senate today. No, I didn't, but if you got some really good highlights, I'd love to hear it. I've kind of lost the whole string. Yeah, it came out with the Mueller investigation, and Barr came out and said basically there's nothing to it, and that in my mind should have shut off the conversation about the Russian influence on the election and any kind of collusion between Russia and the Trump candidacy and the Trump White House. But naturally, it never ever goes like that inside the Beltway, and so I've just decided to roll my eyes at the whole thing and just kind of get on with my life. Pam Duvall, Nectar of the Gods, talking about the vodka flap. What have we got here? Ismael with a long disclaimer about collect calls, bail, etc. Never change the dial in a moving vehicle. That's right. Bert Manansala, Karina Rose Farron is online this morning. That's nice. Good to have you along. And Michelle Peer is online as well. Michelle, have you had a chance to listen to that playlist that I sent you? It's nice. It's nice. I've commissioned Michelle to do a painting. I've got this wall at the house that could use some kind of treatment. I thought, you know what would look great there is a painting by Michelle, and so she's trying to nail down what would be a good painting representative of me and my generally upbeat, healthy outlook about life and times and things like that. And so I said, why don't I send you a playlist? Right, I'll send you a playlist of some of my favorite songs, and then and I figured that might be a way for her to get a glimpse into the psyche and the mind of Ray Gibson. And then in reviewing the playlist yesterday, it looks like I put all of the songs together while I was having my period. They're just looking at these things going, maybe I need myself a glass of red wine or pass some of that vodka along, why don't you? Anyway, so it's good to have Michelle online this morning. It's really good to have you online. We'll talk about some of the other folks that are late checking in here this morning as the program continues. There is, and I don't know if I have it, Andy, but I'm going to share this with you now. Normally, I'd plug ahead and say, coming up, after Kevin Kerrigan does the news, after we do our first look at traffic, coming up, I will give you the most important news that you will hear on the radio today. And you might be thinking, well, what could that be? I mean, listen to the program all the time. Is there some new breaking political gossip out there? Is there something that happened? A rift now beginning to develop between Adelup and the legislature? What could it possibly be that Ray Gibson considers the most important, critical, and valuable news? This is news, friends, that you'll be able to use this weekend for sure, if not today, tonight, in particular. What could it possibly be? And you know, I got it on Facebook. I got it on Facebook, so it must be true.
Yeah.
Because there's no lies. There's no Facebook ever on Facebook. And it's a story from a publication, online publication called Healthy Holistic Living. Listen, I mean, it has the word holistic in the name, so you know it's going to be good. You know this has gone through all of the hippie nutritionists and all of that. It's Healthy Holistic Living, and they are recommending that you stop removing your chicken skin. Back in the 80s, you might recall, everybody went crazy and says, "Oh, we got to take off the chicken skin because it's loaded with fat, and it's going to make you fat, and it's going to make you, it's going to bulge out in parts, and your pants are not going to fit anymore.
Wow.
Your wife's going to leave you because you're getting fat, right?" So they're now saying, this is one of my favorite things about living in this era, is everything that was bad for you is good for you again. And so I'm waiting for them to come out and say, "No, really, go ahead and start smoking if you want to." As it turns out, tars and nicotines, that's not what gives you cancer. Look, people just get cancer, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, we have tars and nicotinoids in our system.
Yeah, it just is. Anyway, so here's the story. Taking the skin off of chicken is a popular practice in the health and dieting world. It seems many people would rather die than eat a tender, juicy chicken leg with its crispy skin. But while there can be benefits to removing it, chicken skin isn't the unhealthy nightmare that so many believe it to be. In fact, eating chicken skin can actually be good for you. First, yes on recreational marijuana, and now leave the chicken skin on.
Nothing goes together like marijuana and chicken skin.
Even those who aren't extremely health conscious have heard one or two nasty rumors about chicken skin. It's incredibly fattening. It can raise cholesterol. It's bad for blood pressure. It can cause heart disease. The accusations never end. But Amy Myrtle Miller, they're using all three of her names, so you know you can trust her. Yeah. Registered dietitian at the Culinary Institute of America, and Dr. Walter Willett of Harvard School of Public Health. As in that Harvard.
Yeah.
Spoke out about chicken skin to put a stop to the gossip once and for all. Just a couple of paragraphs before this is over, because your mouth is watering already, right? Miller says that while chicken skin is often accused of being high in fat, it's mainly made up of unsaturated fat, and unsaturated fat is the healthier kind. You find it in nuts, avocados, and fish. Studies even show that replacing saturated fats like butter, cheese, and red meats with unsaturated fats may actually lower your risk of heart disease, right? And it's got little notations in it. It's got the numbers in parentheses. Mm-hmm. So there's other information down the road. Many people worry that eating too much fat leads to weight gain. Dr. Willett points out, however, that eating or drinking more calories than you need from any source, fat, carbohydrates, protein, or alcohol, can lead to weight gain. In other words, it doesn't matter so much where the calories come from as much as how many of them you manage to eat. You may not be too shocked here that chicken with skin has more calories than chicken without. But what may surprise you is that the calorie difference isn't as drastic as it's made out to be. A roasted drumstick with skin, without skin is 175 calories. Take out your calculator. The same drumstick with skin is 200 calories. It's 25 calories. What difference does it make? And it's going to have less flavor, so you're going to put salt and butter on it anyway.
Yeah.
Something to bring back the flavor, and that may have more calories than what you had taken out with the skin. So, as I say, there's a lot to talk about. There's all kinds of great political gossip stories and stuff over at the legislature and the mayors and Congressman Mike St. Nicholas. But in my mind, this is the most important story I'm going to share with you today. Is go ahead. Eat the chicken skin.
Yeah. The only thing I have about chicken skin is when you go and you get a nice little box of chicken from KFC.
Yes.
And you reach in the box and you just pick something off. You're not picking the meat, man. You're picking that skin.
Yeah, it's crackling. The word you're looking for is crackling, and that's my favorite part. You take some of that crackling and you put it on the red rice at KFC, and then I don't know. I'm suddenly actually in heaven right now talking to you. 6:32 in the morning, and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, Guam Supreme Court Chief Justice Catherine Merriman delivered the State of the Judiciary address yesterday at the Guam Congress Building. In her speech, she highlighted the judiciary's request for nearly $39 million in the 2020 fiscal year. Our budget seeks a very conservative increase, said Justice Merriman, explaining that the funds are needed to take on the growing cost of delivering services. I trust that you all recognize the vital role that the judicial branch of government plays in protecting the liberties and rights of our people, said Justice Merriman. The minutes of the November 27th, 2018 closed-door meeting at which bonuses and pay raises were approved for island utility executives will not be disclosed. Although Attorney General Levin Camacho ruled that the meeting was a violation of Guam's open government law and ordered the executives to pay back those bonuses and salary increases, the Consolidated Commission on Utilities has declined a Freedom of Information Act request from the Guam Daily Post seeking the disclosure of those minutes. In her denial letter, CCU Board Secretary Lou Sablan wrote that the executive session in question was held to perform personnel evaluations of several employees of GWA and GPA, and disclosure would be an unwarranted invasion of privacy. When asked for comment on the CCU denial, Attorney Bob Klitsky said there is no protection for illegal acts in that executive session. Klitsky, who is the host of the Tall Tales radio program here on The Point, said the portion of the meeting during which the employee evaluations were discussed could be blocked out, but the discussion of the salary increases is not protected, he said. Chris Jr. Anderson Tatautau, who's being held on allegations of robbing two tourists in East Agana, is seeking release from jail while he awaits trial. Tatautau has pleaded not guilty. He's being held on $50,000 cash bail. He's facing allegations of robbery and theft, as well as possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. At his initial appearance, Magistrate Judge Jonathan Kwan told Tatautau that his case would be assigned to presiding Judge Alberto Lamarena, and Tatautau would have to take the issue of his release up with that judge. Tatautau has a criminal record that includes a 2009 case of burglary and conspiracy and another burglary charge in 2011. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think that's a good idea. 6:34 in the morning is iConnect time. Run by iConnect and learn about the incredible communications plans that they have for you. Listen, a lot of people just want to make and take a phone call and hit the internet every once in a while for Facebook and funny pictures on WhatsApp. You don't need to have the latest, greatest. You don't have to have the biggest and most expensive plan to do that, and they've got great ones for you at iConnect.
Save big. Save really big when you bundle up your insurance policies with Nanbo Insurance. Insure your home, auto, motorcycle, or business with Nanbo and enjoy great savings, up to 50%. When it comes to insuring your property, no one knows better than the company with over 50 years of service to the community. Don't compromise the things that matter to you most. Call Nanbo today at 477-9754 or visit nanbo.com for more information. Nanbo Insurance, serving you since 1968.
6:35. Yeah, almost 6:36. Listen, here's the deal. It rained last night, and there might still be some of the wet and slippery on the roadways. As my friend says, it might be Palaxi to the Maxi, somewhere where you are, so watch out for it. I got smooth goings from Jigo southbound all the way into Dededo and into Upper Tumon, as a matter of fact. Might get a little bit of a slowdown over at the Chicken Joy intersection, because now I'm talking about chicken skin, and everybody wants to know. I thought the funniest post the other day is they said the 10-day rosary at Jollibee is over because they got rid of the tent. I'm sorry, that might have been the funniest. The coffee out the nose. It was good. So we've got some movement down there. I might also see a little bit of movement if you're going up Route 16 over by the 76 Circle K at Ocean Vista. You get to 8, 10, and 16. It's all right. A little bit of traffic building up around Payless on Route 10, but the intersections are all running clear from Route 4 all the way into the downtown area. It's looking good. Let me just take a quick look over at Sumai. Nothing happening there. All right, now's a good time to drive. Just watch out for the roads. It's 6:36. That's right now traffic on the point.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mix with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Getting you back to the talk faster. It's the Ray Gibson Show.
The crazy bass guy in the song here. Let me just see if I can pull. I want to pull up a couple of pictures that we got for you this morning, and give you a sense of just what a dynamic environment that we live in here on Guam, where you can go outside at say 5:45. Right, just as the sun is breaking the horizon, and take a look out at the sky, and you see all of these beautiful gold and pink and red colors as the sun is coming up over the horizon, and then you go back outside 10 minutes later and look at the same vista, same view, but everything has changed. Different set of clouds, a little bit more light on the scene, a little bit of gray underneath the clouds, and here to explain the phenomena, this cosmic phenomena, is Michael Knight.
Yeah, nothing more than the clouds moving in. The cloud in the first picture is the one we're seeing in the second picture, just from a much closer perspective.
Aha.
Yeah, so
with a little bit more light on it, I guess.
Yeah, it was a little interesting to see. Yeah, just 11 minutes between those two pictures, and the entire sky completely changed. It was very cool.
It is a very, very interesting thing. While I've got this open here, let me just jump to a couple of other things that I wanted to play around with this morning. Mike St. Nicholas, as I think we're all aware, is fully capable these days of showing up in not unexpected places, but seems to be dropping a lot of surprises in places. Last week, we found out there was actually somebody that represented Guam at the christening of the USNS Guam, and it was Congressman Mike St. Nicholas. Didn't get the press release on that. In fact, we were at least I was when I was going to him, bugging him for comment. I'm waiting for some kind of snarky, well, this is just the way we're treated by the federal government kind of thing, and he goes, oh, no, I was there. Oh, all right, fine. But he's apparently been talking again before the House subcommittee that he is on, and posted this early this morning. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to get a little bit more of a sense of explanation from him. But some are referring to this as kind of a mic drop moment in his conversation over at the House of Representatives. It looks like the video might go for about 5 minutes, but we'll bail if it gets boring. Okay.
The gentleman from Guam, Mr. St. Nicholas, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm listening very intently, and I'm finding a lot of interesting connotations in the conversation. It sounds like, in the interest of trying to move forward this legislation to provide funding for affordable housing, there's a resistance or a hesitation to do so if we don't pursue deregulation perhaps first. And, I think that deregulating makes sense to a certain extent, but I don't think we should be abdicating our responsibilities to address the affordable housing crisis in this country. We shouldn't be abdicating that responsibility to localities which we do not have any jurisdictions over. I think that maybe perhaps in our role we can influence our respective districts to address whatever is holding back the development opportunities in the regulatory framework, but I think that we need to stay focused on what our duties are here and now with respect to this particular piece of legislation. And in the context of that, I wanted to talk about how we're looking at, I think, two different arenas here, really, and we're comparing them in ways that I don't think are very accurate, at least not an accurate reflection of what we're dealing with in those two particular areas. Mr. Carter, you basically, your interest in the whole affordable housing arena is focused on private capital and utilizing private capital to address the public housing issues in this country. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And in the earlier conversation, it was talked about how your target range is about $7,000 to $20,000 as a cost basis when it comes to rehabbing existing structures for affordable housing purposes. Yes, sir. And it was also mentioned in that conversation that the $55,000 per unit cost that's going to be addressed in this particular legislation is, well, it was intonated that it was higher than what your costs are, but the whole purpose of your operation is to pursue those kind of projects that have the least amount of cost and the highest rate of return. Is that correct?
I would say that those that have the appropriate risk-adjusted return, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Ms. Hodman, you represent the agencies.
That's correct.
And this $55,000 per unit public housing cost is to address the agency concern. Ms. Yentl, you spoke about how the agency rehabilitation issues have been underfunded for decades.
Yes.
And it's been cut off by as much as 50% over the last almost 20 years.
That's right.
Now, I think that we can get the private sector and the public sector to agree that when you defer maintenance for that long, the cost to rehab those units increases exponentially over time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we get a consensus across the board on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the underinvestment over all these decades is, I would argue, a large cost component of why we're talking about $55,000 per unit today, as opposed to $7,000 or $20,000 per unit for a private firm that's able to go out and almost pick and choose what projects to undertake. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Do we have consensus on that across the board?
I would simply say that we may be comparing apples and oranges in that case, because I think the level of capital needs and the level of deferment of the deferral of maintenance in some of the public housing portfolio would be much greater than that which Mr. Carter, than a property that Mr. Carter might be buying.
So I'm glad we're able to get that on the record, because I don't want us to I think we're all on the same page here. I think that we definitely need to support and deregulate to allow for the private investment to continue to help meet those demands, so that we don't have to invest public money in the areas where the private investment isn't going to flow towards. I think that we just both have to figure out how to find that happy yin and yang here. I did want to talk about something that was mentioned by my colleague, Mr. Sherman, about rents are too damn high and wages are too damn low. And I think that, of course, that formula factors into the equation when it comes down to affordable housing. Ms. Yentl, you mentioned a single person with a disability relying on an annual income of just over $10,000 from supplemental security income is an example of inadequate income to meet housing needs. Is that correct?
Well, it's an example of an extremely low-income household, and they are the households who have the most severe shortages of homes affordable and available to them, yes.
Right. And so I wanted to just kind of reference that when I make this point here, and that is that while I know that your purposes are to advocate for housing in particular, I think that because we just have so much crossover here in the need for housing and the need for incomes that can afford that housing, I would ask that your organizations begin exploring the availability of their testimony to actually speak towards the income issues in this community. And one of them in particular, and I'll end with this, is that Guam as a territory does not get SSI. We don't even have that $10,000. And I just wanted to close by asking across the board, your organizations are all national organizations. Does that include territorial data?
Yes.
Yeah, NARA does, yes.
Where the data is available, yes.
Right. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Yield back.
A reference to somebody that says, "Oh, Mike's using the old Jedi mind trick on those guys." He writes on his Facebook page regarding what you've just seen: Financial Service Committee moving legislation that could bring 20 times more public housing monies to Guam, increasing available grant equivalents from $2.6 million. Possibly up to $56.5 million. Arguments were made to make it seem like the money was not being allocated efficiently. Our work today debunked that argument and also made sure the territories remained front of mind. So I think done an outstanding job there. Other commentary on Facebook seemed to echo that sentiment. So Mike Nicholas continuing to turn heads in Washington, D.C. We'll see if we can reach out to him at some point this morning and find out a little bit more about that and other matters that he is up to in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the people of Guam. 888-8255, 888-TALK. And probably should have stayed home last night. You know, I get the congestion in my head. I got a couple of aches and pains as associated with, I don't know what it is that I've got. Leptospirosis, AIDS, whatever. I'm feeling kind of poorly right now, but you know me, I got to come to work. I'd rather be doing this than laying around on the couch. But yesterday, I had the opportunity to help out 76 Circle K raise some money. They're a big part of the Relay for Life, and their goal here is obviously to do more for people that are afflicted with cancer and their families, and also to make their contributions bigger than the Bank of Guam, who wins every single year. And you know, I'm just trying to go to bat for them every chance I get. So last night we had an opportunity, like I said, to help out. Ken Hoots and I were the masters of ceremony, and one of the highlights of the night was when celebrity waiter Lisa Berdalio got up towards the end of the evening and wowed the audience with a reprise, an encore, if you will, of the Mamma Mia show that played last weekend over at the Phoenix Center at Father Duenas Memorial. And among the cast that she brought with her was my nephew Raymond David, and we got together for a picture that I want to share with you here this morning, if for no other reason to see what it looks like when the two Ray Gibsons on Guam get together, trying to bring the red back. I got a pair of red red pants that I wear to make some kind of a statement. And the statement is there needs to be more people wearing red pants. So he's got his jumpsuit going. And I think he's going to start wearing that all the time. And then I've got the red pants things that are working. And I'm not going to keep any secrets. I'm one of those guys. If I think I'm batting 1,000 on my fashion, then I'm going to tell you how I did it. Stitch Fix, a great resource for getting some new clothes into your closet, guys. And if you want red pants just like that, Tommy Hilfiger. And I know what you're going to say. Well, Tommy Hilfiger, every time I go to Tommy, if the lines are too long to pay and get out of there. Did you know that Tommy Hilfiger has a locals kind of checkout? I might have told you this before, but it's true. They've got it. If you go all the way to the end, there's like 3 cash registers there, and the idea is that if you are local, then you go there and make your payments as quickly as possible and get on out. Everybody else has got to stand in the long kind of lines, and they're a little bit more used to, I guess, how that works out. So just keep that in your head the next time. Why don't they have that at Ross? Is the question that I have. I'd like to be able to have the like a senior citizen lane. Now that I am an actual by Guam law, a senior citizen, I'd like Ross to be able to say, okay, we have the Ray Gibson and everybody else that's over 55 lane here so that you can buy stuff. I promise I'd shop there a little bit more. 6:48 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK. Senators have passed the gambling rules over at the legislature. I have not seen the final as-passed version of the rules, and whether or not any of the commentary and testimony by guys like Ken Leon Guerrero or others managed to make it into the change. And I'm a little bit fuzzy on how all of that happened. First of all, I wasn't aware that they were going to be going back into session to talk about it yesterday, so that has caught a couple of us by surprise. And then the other part of it is, was there an opportunity for the senators to actually make changes to the rules and regulations that had been promulgated by the mayors?
Yes, that's what most of the debate was about yesterday, making adjustments here and there. And yes,
could they do that? Because it seems to me it was just to adopt or not adopt the rules and regulations, not so much to go in there and change them.
No, they're able to make amendments to any piece of legislation.
I guess
this
so.
was a piece of
one of
legislation.
those.
Yeah.
I forget about the crazy power that the legislature can wield. But like I said, could they have done something like that? I guess that's
and
the
they
deal.
included some of the suggestions from the various people that testified.
Did
about
they include
rules.
mine about trying to figure out where the
Yours
age
were
of
on the
majority
record,
is?
were they? Did you go down and testify?
I told Ken to put it in there because it was kind of fuzzy on. First of all, for games of chance, I can see a little bit of ID check for people that are going to be going into the quote house of cards.
21 across the board. That's what it is.
For the games of chance, even the
for
colors
the card
game?
games inside the
card games is 21. Okay, what about the other games? The games of chance outside? Because they were originally saying that you needed to be 18 years of age or older to participate in those, and I'm going, why? It doesn't make any sense. It's just a carnival game. My God, could we possibly complicate this anymore? So we'll talk about that and some more. But I wanted to get this into a little bit of the conversation. My friend Patty Diego from the Guam Power Authority is online. Good morning, Patty. How you doing there?
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, Guam.
So,
hold on.
Hold on.
Oh, I said I'm holding on, doing fine.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Listen, there's all kinds of crazy things seem to be going on over at GPA these days. Up to did you guys find the guy that had been rolling around telling everybody that he needed to go inside the house and check the electricity and the meters? Has that been put to rest yet?
Well, Ray, this does happen from time to time, but as I'm sure you'll understand and your listeners will understand, if there's something that's under investigation, our comments are going to be very brief. And we put the public service announcement out there just so that the safety of the public, in an abundance of caution, that they could be sure that if someone is coming to say that they're transacting business on behalf of the Guam Power Authority, they should see the official vehicle right there, close by, and they could ask for their identification, because in this day and age, as things are happening in our community, things are possible. And while we regret that this may be one of the situations, we did get reports that it was happening, and we wanted to give notice to the public.
Is it still happening, though? I mean, now that the public service announcements have gone out and it's been a subject of news stories, are you still hearing from residents of Guam that there are still, like, the guy in the red pickup truck that's knocking on doors?
In this week so far, I have not had any confirmed reports.
Okay, that's good news. The bad news is apparently somebody's got their eye on your copper.
Yes, and not only is that bad news because stealing wire is a theft, but also can result in death. I mean, and we don't want to be discussing that on the radio, hopefully, but
Oh no! If somebody has got if somebody is of the mind that they're going to steal copper from an active and charged telephone or power line, frankly, I'm from the old school that says you deserve every shock you got coming to you. And the bad news here's the way it works with electrocution. You'll die. It's a long, painful death, and it will be painful from the beginning to the end. So you don't want to do that. But if you do, if you're thinking that that's what's going to put food on the table or meth in the pipe, then you got whatever you deserve. Whatever you get coming to you.
It is very, very serious, and you're right, it could result in that. And in the last 7 to 8 days, we have been looking at least 12 cases, and I can't comment on the details.
Wow.
But we do have a team in place that is aware of this, and we work very closely with the law enforcement officials. So we would like the public also, if you see someone trying to work on power lines, that is not an official vehicle, of course, and is touting, the tools and what have you, call the police department, right away, call the GPA hotline, and they can get someone on it right, get on the case right away. But it's a theft that delays services, but most of all, it's a theft against the people of Guam.
Oh, absolutely. And, at the worst time, you'll recall when people were running around there stealing the copper, while we were trying to restore from storms back in the day. 6:53 in the morning, Patty Diego from the Guam Power Authority. But I'm assuming that you've got guys that are checking out the waste metal centers and the Massey to find out if anybody's coming in with copper, right? Because there are still rules and regulations on people going to those places where they've got to be able to identify the source of their materials.
That's correct, and our team, they're experts in this, and they know exactly how to go down the list and get those things taken care of. So if it's reported, we find it, we're on the case, we'll do everything we can, to the full letter of the law.
Gotcha, Patty. I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks so much. Safety is the key, always.
Safety is, it's my watchword, my byline. I'm one of those guys. I was taught, actually, it was Sonny Shelton years ago that taught me how to work around electricity. And he said, most important advice I can give you is keep one hand in your pocket. And if you're going to touch something and you're not sure whether it's electrified or not, touch it with the back of your hand. Right? You want to touch it with the back of your hand. If it is charged, if there is electricity in it, your hand will contract. So you know to stay away from it. And you keep one hand in your pocket so that the electricity doesn't cross your heart. And that's what he told me back a long time ago. That was the way that you avoid getting yourself killed with electricity. And as I said, it will hurt all the way until you die. 888-8255-888-TALK. Very close, very dear personal friend, the host of the afternoon program here, Tall Tales, Bob Klitsky's on the line. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Ray.
So a couple of thoughts that I have in my head, and I'm still ruminating on and I don't have the measure in front of me. Perhaps you've seen it. Peter Terlahi's measure that would provide for approval of the rules and regulations promulgated by the Mayor's Council for the casinos and the games of chance at the carnival. And the question I have is, was that adopt or not adopt, or does the legislature have the power to go into the rules and regulations and amend as they see fit?
Once they go in and start amending, they're no longer rules and regulations.
Okay, go ahead.
Because rules and regulations are promulgated by an agency in accordance with enabling legislation from the legislature. And ordinarily, under the administrative adjudication law, they're sent to the legislature, and they are either approved by default, excuse me, Ray, after a passage of time, or the legislature can enact a law to approve or disapprove. Unfortunately, the legislature thinks that they can amend those rules once they get to the legislature, but once the legislature acts, then those things become laws, not rules. And the classic example here is the mess created by Public Law 2338, which are called the Paul Bordallo Rules and Regulations for the Land Trust Act.
Right.
But they're not, because they're in a statute. So because they don't comply with the rules-making mechanism, they're not listed in the Guam Administrative Rules portion of the compiler's website, and because they don't reference any part of the Guam Code annotated, you can't find them by going through the ordinary tools that lawyers use to find things in the code.
Interesting.
So what results is a black hole. And the only way that anyone would know about those so-called rules is by means of oral tradition. And it appears that they've done the same thing here with these casino rules. See, the idea behind excuse me, Ray.
You got some of that beetle nut stuck in your throat, just like me.
The reason for the rulemaking mechanism is that the legislature can delegate a little bit of its authority to an agency in accordance with standards that are set forth in the statute.
Yeah.
Because the thinking is that the agency would have greater expertise to deal with that particular area of the law than the legislature would.
Made sense.
Yeah, unless you're dealing with the mayor's council, they don't have any expertise in this area.
Well, and so that's my question here: is how much could the legislature have gone in and done this? Here's all of the language of the measure. The legislature hereby adopts the rules and regulations as amended and attached as Exhibit A, entitled "Rules and Regulations for Games of Chance," pursuant to Public Law 35-4. So, in my mind, it's adopt or not adopt. As they amend it, then it's no longer Exhibit A. It's no longer a creature of the Mayor's Council.
Exactly right.
Okay. All right. So my cub lawyer thinking is correct on this one. Hey, I got the music playing. Can we give you a ring back about 7:30? Because it's this and the CCU's denial of the Freedom of Information. I wanted to get your thoughts on that on the air. Okay.
I'm looking forward to it, Ray.
You know what? So am I. I don't know how I'll be able to contain myself till then. All right, there it is. His honored Bob Klitsky is going to be on the radio around 7:30-ish or so. What do we got here? 6:59 and change. The radio station is KUSG Aganya. My name is Ray Gibson, and Kevin Kerrigan's got news coming up. Michael Knight's going to press the button on Fox News Live.
The U.S. Attorney General facing calls to resign. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Democrats accusing William Barr again of defending the president instead of the rule of law after his appearance at a Senate hearing today over his handling of the Mueller report. Fox's John Decker is live at the White House.
Minnesota Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar told Attorney General Bill Barr that the president may have committed obstruction of justice by asking his White House counsel Don McGahn on 2 occasions to have special counsel Robert Mueller removed from his position.
Do you agree that obstruction law allows for intent to be informed by a pattern of potentially obstructive acts?
Well, intent eventually has to be established by proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Senators on the Judiciary Committee say they now want to hear testimony from McGahn as well as from former special counsel Robert Mueller. Lisa?
Well, John, White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders in a tweet calls Barr a fine public servant and says Democrats only disgrace and humiliate themselves with baseless attacks. Barr is supposed to appear before a House committee tomorrow, but the Justice Department is objecting to that committee's decision to let committee staffers, namely lawyers, ask questions. Supporters of Venezuela's self-proclaimed interim leader Juan Guaido back on the streets. Day 2 of an uprising that disputed President Nicolas Maduro claimed he had already defeated. Fox's Rich Edson at the State Department.
This is an attempt by Juan Guaido to continue momentum to try to lodge Nicolas Maduro from power. And officials here were saying that yesterday they thought they were close. They thought they had an agreement with some officials, senior officials in Maduro's government that at the last minute, according to officials here, decided to chicken out and not support Juan Guaido.
The U.S. pushing for a peaceful transition of power. A short time ago, more tear gas in Caracas. This is Fox News.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
A California couple expressing profound regret as they become the first parents to plead guilty in the college admissions cheating scandal. Prosecutors say they paid over $500,000 to the ringleader of the scam.
Rick Singer, his phony foundation for exam cheating and also for bribes to college coaches, ultimately securing a spot on the UCLA women's soccer team for one daughter and the crew team at USC for another, with bribes deducted as charitable contributions.
Fox's Molly Line in Boston, where Bruce and Davina Isaacson pleaded guilty to fraud and conspiracy counts. The only two fraternities at a Pennsylvania college disbanded over past behavior recently brought to light.
Phi Psi and Delta Upsilon made the decision after a days-long sit-in and calls for the fraternities to be shuttered. The allegations first appeared in campus publications last month when internal documents from Phi Psi were publicized that included negative comments about the LGBTQ community, women, and minorities, and references to a place at the frat house where sex assaults occurred.
Fox's Gernal Scott, in a letter to students, school president Valerie Smith says there is much healing to do. Alex Trebek opens up about the effects of cancer treatment.
In his first live interview since revealing his stage 4 pancreatic cancer diagnosis, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek updated fans on his health, telling Good Morning America's Robin Roberts he's been plagued with surges of deep sadness from chemotherapy treatments.
Chemo affects people in different ways, and people have to understand that. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm really depressed today, and I have no idea why.
The 78-year-old reports his oncologist says he is doing well, adding folks sharing advice and prayers is making a difference in his well-being. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
A late sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow dropped 163 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Docomo Pacific's all-new business bundles provide tailored solutions to help your business become a better business. Choose from our Business Basic, Essential, or Value bundles and get unlimited talk and text, worry-free data at home and abroad, plus access to the fastest online speeds in the Marianas. Add on mobile or broadband lines and save up to 20% for each line. Email businesssales@docomopacific.com to find out which bundle provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic and Pika's best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at fhpguam.com.
Half a day and Good Morning Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Guam lawmakers last night voting to approve a measure that lays out the rules and regulations for games of chance at the Guam Island Fair and Liberation Day Carnival. The entire session was devoted to Bill 101 and lasted about 5 hours. Numerous amendments were made to the rules Much of the debate, however, revolved around the legality of allowing gambling to return to the carnival. The vote on Senator Jose Terlahi's Bill 101 was 10-5, with Senators Talina Nelson, Sabina Perez, Therese Terlahi, Regine Bisco-Lee, and Mary Torres voting against it. Passage of the bill, followed by the governor's expected signature, will clear the way for the Mayor's Council of Guam to issue a request for proposals from vendors interested in sponsoring those games, which will include casino-style card games like Texas Hold'em. Mayor's Council of Guam Executive Director Angel Sablan has said that the funds raised from the winning bidders for the games of chance are needed to pay for all the Liberation Day festivities. He's expressed concern that time is running out. The start of the carnival is on June 5th. Supreme Court Chief Justice Catherine Merriman delivered the State of the Judiciary address yesterday at the Guam Congress Building. In her speech, she highlighted the judiciary's request for nearly $39 million in the 2020 fiscal year. Our budget seeks a very conservative increase, said Justice Merriman, explaining that the funds are needed to take on the growing cost of delivering our services. She said, I trust that you all recognize the vital role that the judicial branch of government plays in protecting the liberties and rights of our people. Members of the Guam Bar, island senators, and other GovGuam leaders gathered for the speech. They broke into applause when Merriman requested support for the Criminal Justice Automation Commission, which greatly streamlined and improved the work throughout our law enforcement community, said Merriman. This was Merriman's third and final State of the Judiciary address as Chief Justice. Her term ends later this year. We'll have more news after this.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Get a free Polar Pop any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a free coffee any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get $5 off any Circle K car wash package when you purchase $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The minutes of the November 27th, 2018 closed-door meeting at which bonuses and pay raises were approved for the island's utility executives will not be disclosed. Although Attorney General Levin Camacho ruled that the meeting was a violation of Guam's open government law and he ordered the executives to pay back those bonuses and salary increases, the Consolidated Commission on Utilities has declined a Freedom of Information Act request from the Guam Daily Post seeking the disclosure of those minutes. In her denial letter, CCU Board Secretary Lou Sablan wrote that the executive session in question was held to perform personnel evaluations of several employees of GWA and GPA, and disclosure would be an unwarranted invasion of privacy. When asked for comment on the CCU denial, Attorney Bob Klitsky said there is no protection for illegal acts in that executive session. Klitsky, who is the host of the Tall Tales radio program here on The Point, said that the portion of the meeting during which the employee evaluations were discussed could be blocked out, but the discussion of the salary increases is not protected, he said. The open government law is clear. Under no circumstances shall a public agency hold a closed-door meeting to discuss salary adjustments. All such discussions or decisions must be held in public. Klitsky maintains that the CCU should release the illegal parts of that meeting where they discuss the salaries, saying, how do you protect an illegal act? The homeless feeding program at the Dededo Senior Center was canceled yesterday following complaints of vandalism and fighting by some of the patrons. The program provided free meals for the homeless in the island's most populous village. It was sponsored by the Archdiocese of Agana Ministry to the Homeless, Kamalan Caridad. Dededo Mayor Melissa Savares was off island yesterday, but Vice Mayor Frank Benavente told the Guam Daily Post that the program was shut down because the senior center was being damaged, and there was violence among some of those who attended. Kamalan Karyat program coordinator Doris Royal said it's only a temporary setback. We still want to continue the program. Royal said that the feeding center at the Kamalan Karyat location in Agana is still operating 7 days a week, and they're working on opening another feeding center in Tamuning as soon as next week. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
Just the sound of it, the homeless feeding center. You know, there's some weird thing that pops into my head when I hear that. It's like, it's like feeding homeless, feeding the wild animals or something like that. I don't know. Just there's a connection. Hard for me to describe, but maybe you're feeling it too. Partly cloudy with isolated showers today. Easterly winds up to about 15 miles an hour. Expected highs today. Warm 89 degrees. Overnight lows 77. But as the man said, isolated showers are in the forecast. Sunset tonight at 6:36 and sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 5:59, 5:58. It was before 6 o'clock for sure today. I've got the amazing Michael Knight now is going to take a look at the weather radar and see if we've got any more rain in the forecast. Doesn't look like the near term is going to bring too much now that it's already washed over the north, right?
No, the view looks nice, though, from our exclusive weather feeding center here. And we've got isolated showers that are sliding on through. Got some southeast mousonini showers, and that kind of shows you that the influence is actually coming from a location down to the southwest. That's what happens when we have these weak tropical systems form up, which is what's happening. So we'll see some more of these isolated showers come on through as the day progresses. May see more than we've seen in past days, and that's actually a blessing for us. As we go over to satellite real quick, we can see kind of what's going on. Got lots of blobbage down to our south, and some of that blobbage is actually a designated system. Down to our southwest, that is 90 WInvest, model showing that to kind of form into something very weak and small and kind of cruise up to the north and skirt us off to the west. And it will bring some of that moisture into our area over the next few days. Model's also showing another weak system that may form to our southeast and bring some rain next week. We'll keep an eye on that, and our thumbs, what are we doing with our thumbs? Yeah, thumbs up and fingers crossed and all that sort of thing. And if you can do both, you're really talented.
All right, there we go. And that's as much as we can get you right now. News and weather together here on The Point.
I'm Edward James Olmos, here to remind you that the second Saturday in May is the annual Letter Carrier Food Drive. The need for food assistance remains high in communities across America, but you can help. Simply leave a bag of non-perishable food near your mailbox on the second Saturday in May, and your letter carriers will do the rest. All food collected stays within your local community. So on the second Saturday in May, please join me and the National Association of Letter Carriers and stamp out hunger.
Yeah, buddy. It is a national commercial that we got from the folks at the Guam Post Office, so that is taking place here on Guam. So get a bag, get some whatever it is that you've got, as the man says, non-perishables, and have them standing by for the letter carriers to pick up. Now, I'm kind of in a quandary here because I don't actually have a mailbox.
Me either. I don't get mail at my place.
How do I? Let me get a hold of the postmaster here and see what she thinks I ought to be doing. Where are we now? Portions of the program brought to you by King's. They've got the crazy 19 menu that is still floating around, left over from the holidays, and they decided to keep the thing handy, and because everybody seems to be ordering off of it these days. Also, Micronesian Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar, and APL, where they're shipping the future.
The sky's the limit with Bank Pacific's secure MyCloud banking. You can access your account 24/7 with your smartphone, your computer, your iPad, or any other tablet. You can pay bills, set up alerts, check your balances, wire transfer money. It's never been easier. Enroll online or come on in and see one of our friendly staff. Digital Life, Digital Solutions. Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
7:16, the Ray Gibson Show, also being brought to you by Cold Stone, the ultimate ice cream experience. Mother's Day is coming up. Show your mom that she's the best at Cold Stone Creamery. Celebrate with their new ice cream cake, Oreo cookies, and Cream Extreme, made with layers of moist yellow cake, chocolate ice cream with golden Oreo cookies. I got cake batter ice cream with Oreo cookies wrapped in a fluffy Oreo cookie frosting. Order yours online now at coldstonecakes.com. Cold Stone Creamery, super premium ice cream made fresh every day. The show is also brought to you by Joey and Jen and Dunge over at Cars Plus, driven by you in Guam Regional Medical City. First choice for all of your specialty care needs.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8 255.
Yeah, well, making the noise. This old man noise is here. Just trying to get as much of the snot out of my nasal cavity as possible and make it to the end of the program today. I'll work on all of that stuff. Hey, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. Ray Gibson here in the studio. Well, I got an opportunity. Let me say, do some shouts to Islanders Association saying good morning, Guam. Ray, nice. Pam Duvall, sales are up because you make the food sound so good. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna see if I can get some other sales on some novelties. Novelties is what they call them in the business. I'll share that with you in a second. Fran Lizama is online. Richard Leon, Pam Duvall, Emmett, Tanya Affligwe Conception. Austin Baird has joined us this morning. Charlie Hermosa from American President Lines. Did you know that they're the guys that are responsible for making sure the jerk seasonings get from Jamaica to Jamaican Grill? There's another thing. They ship the future and my dinner. Who else is playing around here? Yoich Rengil in San Francisco, California. Richard Leon, Rudy Magallanes. We were talking about chicken skin a little bit earlier, and there's others. Oh, you know who chimed in on that? Minami Ijima. That's not her. It's now her maiden name. But Minami chimed in and said, "Oh, I eat chicken skin all the time. I eat chicken skin. That's because there was, back in the 80s, they said don't eat chicken skin because it's fat."
My sister would not eat the chicken, just the skin.
Just the skin.
Just the skin. All she wanted. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of the restaurant. Used to be Robo's, Rob Call's place, and then it turned into, it was like the Agana version of Kinney's Cafe, and then it was 2 or 3 different kind of different bars. And I used to go in there because they would give me a beer for $2.50, and you could buy, although they'd give it to you if you just asked nice, fried chicken skins. And a little bit of a dipping sauce, not sriracha, but something that would eventually come and become sriracha. And I could sit in there and eat those things like potato chips. So I never really sided up with that. But I can see where some people say, "Oh, I like it boneless and skinless."
Oh yeah, there was a chain. I don't know if they're regional in California. I forget the name of the thing, but their whole thing was the extra crispy, and then there was extra crispy, and then there was like, whoa, forget about it. It was like 18 layers of extra crispy.
What?
And that was their game. The bucket.
Yeah.
Their 12-piece bucket. Back in the days when I ate chicken, right, way back. Their 12-piece bucket. The Colonel's 12-piece bucket was like, yay, and this guy's bucket was like yay. For
like a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket.
Yeah, it was just all this extra breading and stuff was what made it, and people just went there because that's what they wanted. And my sister came back. She'd rip the skin off all this stuff
and just eat that.
And just eat the skin. And someone, hey, well, I want some skin too. No, you can't have any skin. I paid for it.
So if you ever hang out with my sister Mana. And no, I think every family has a version of this where has somebody in it that does this. But you get those Whitman samplers, right? You get the Whitman samplers, and Mana take the bite off of it, and if she didn't like it, she just
put it back.
Put it back in there. Somebody will eat this. That's funny. Richard, did I already say Richard's on? Rick Leon's on. Janice Wong in Hawaii. Huffa Janice, nice to see you there. Charlie Laron and Richard Yu. Hey, partner. Dave Torrey, my coach. Jeff Pleto. Dave, I have not hit the pavement since the marathon. I was going to go out the other day, but then the sniffles hit me. But my plantar is loving it. Jeff Pleadwell from Pirates Cove. Boy, there's a guy that's got a recipe for chicken skins, right? Somebody's going to float around that. Big Sister Shelley's on. Mers Greeno, Joe Flores, Eunice Mendiola, Jim Schmidt, and Melissa Salas Akimoto. Look at this crowd here, guys. Rudy Magallanes, Teresa Royal Matanani, Fredo Mendoza, Rot Rose Greeno, and so many more chiming in and with some of the other conversation that we have.
Do you realize we could run the island with the people that are just on your Facebook feed?
How do you know we're not? It is also possible that there's everybody else is going to have some kind of opinion, but I think the real power base on Guam is on the Facebook feed here. There's that story. I'll remember now. I'm going to show you something else, and this I saw this on Facebook a few weeks ago, and then I didn't see it again. But my friend Michelle Franquez has reposted something on it because we're all still waiting for this piece of goodness to hit the stores. Kathy from Payless is aware of the existence of this ice cream novelty, but we don't have a line on the distributor yet. It's a Kit Kat drumstick. Kit Kat. Now, for those of you that are not watching the program today, I'll have to describe this. It is a waffle cone. And then there's ice cream. The outside of the ice cream is the same Hershey's chocolate and bits of the wafer that goes into a Kit Kat bar. And then you've got the vanilla ice cream on the inside, and in the center of the vanilla ice cream is more chocolate and more wafer. It's a Kit Kat novelty. This is one of the people will move off island. Where do you live now? I live in Seattle, Washington. Why did you move to Seattle? With his job, the economy?
No.
Judge a body kick you out? No, because I could go to a grocery store and get Kit Kat novelties like this. Which brings up another question. I don't know who's going to end up distributing that, and if you do, we'll make you president of Guam. Just to put something in the online chat and say, oh yeah, I think I know where this is going to be coming from or who's going to be importing it. Then that would be good. That would be helpful for everybody. But while we're on the subject, I like a particular flavor of Good Humor bar. And I can't find it. I've loved Good Humor chocolate bars since I was, 10 or 11 years old, and my Uncle Shifty would go to the base and buy it and bring it to Grandma's house for me because he knew how much I loved them. Anyway, Shifty left and they died, and nobody brings me chocolate Good Humor bars. And whenever I see them in the grocery stores here, it's like strawberry.
Yeah.
I'm not a strawberry ice cream guy.
Okay.
So I'm just if you know where I can find some of that, that would be helpful to me as I move forward in my quest for self-improvement and perfection in 2019. Let me just quick look at what happened on the market here, just because that time of day I'm supposed to be doing market stuff. All of the markets went backwards today. S&P 500 22 points off to close at 29.23. Nasdaq at 8,049. They're up by 45 points. Now here's the crazy thing. When I got on the air when I got in the building at 5, they were all looking good. All the markets were cranking. There was a massive sell-off going on. Dow Jones Industrial Average at 26,430, up by 162 points.
Bitcoin just a shed above 5,300, 5,301 even. It's been showing a slow upward trend this week.
Hey, that ain't bad. Well, considering the first time we started doing the Thursday reports on Bitcoin, they were around 3,000?
Yep.
Yeah. So numbers going up. Yesterday we had felt like a reprieve from increases in West Texas and in Tapas, but things have changed around. West Texas now at $63.62 for a barrel of that. Yesterday it was $63.40, so up by a few cents. And Tapas yesterday at $75.07. Today is $75.68. But I was I was with Mike Hernandez last night from 76 Circle K. He didn't say anything about increases in gas prices.
And if he doesn't tell you, it's not going to happen.
That's right. If it doesn't come to me first, then it doesn't happen. And even if the prices change, you just go to the lady inside and say, Ray Gibson didn't say that the prices were going up, therefore it didn't happen.
Exactly.
It's the way I like earthquakes. If I didn't feel it, there was no earthquake.
I like it.
Never happened.
Yes.
7:25 in the morning. And frisky enough group here in the studio. Jerry Roberts obviously in with this morning's Extra Point. And that is brought to you by, I guess we ought to get into it now. It's 7:25. It's Jerry Roberts, the Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
The article discussed superpowers in the workplace. It claimed we all have superpowers, but I was drawing a blank when it came to identifying mine. Could I be the only one without them? Let's find out what those superpowers might be next on the Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Miles sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Now, let's clarify something here about superpowers. This is not about normal strengths and weaknesses. These are the unique things that make you special, that separate you from others, talents that can help you make a greater impact. When I think about people with superpowers, I think of a guy I've mentioned here before, Big Ed, the manager at my first real job. He did so many things well, but I think he had the power of clarity. He could take a complex idea and break it down to plain language so anybody could understand. When I think of superpowers, I think about people I've known who have a great memory and can instantly recall names to go with faces, plus detailed information about their family and career. In that respect, I've never known anyone who could match former Governor Carl Gutierrez. Getting people to see your position and then getting them to take action, to be someone who is extraordinarily difficult to say no to, is definitely a superpower. When I think of those skills, I think of a lady who is both tireless and relentless, but all to benefit people. And I'm speaking of former KUAM-TV news anchor Carmen Kasperbauer. I don't have one specific name for the next superpower, but those who possess it belong to a special legion of people who can take an irate customer and calm them down in mere moments. Their combination of voice, smile, eye contact, empathy, caring, and taking ownership of a situation more often than not leads to a happy ending. I've known people who sent out a vibe that made strange animals feel comfortable around them, or they're able to motivate workers, or they show unbridled enthusiasm that spreads like a good virus throughout an organization. All of these are superpowers. So what is your superpower? This isn't about being great at your job. This is about something truly unique, like in the examples I gave. If you're a little unsure, let me offer some help. I want you to think about the compliments you've received, whether it's at work or in your personal life. Make a list of both what the compliment was and, if you remember, the person who gave it to you. Look at the list and see if there are any items that are repeated. If several people have noticed the same thing about you, that might be a pretty good indication of your superpower. If you're still unsure, another way to get a good handle on your superpowers is to ask those people who know you best. It could be family, friends, or coworkers. Don't complicate this. Just ask them straight away. Hey, if I have any kind of a superpower, what do you think it is? You just might be amazed at what people say, and I'll bet you'll be smiling inside. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. Maybe something super. For 93.3 and the Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Yes, that's another one of those Jerry Roberts extra points that's going to stick in my head all day, where I'm going to try to figure out what it is. Is it something I should know right off?
Not
I mean, should I be able to say, well, this is the attribute that I have. This is the quality that I have.
Okay, ready?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, forget the workplace for just a moment. What are you really good at away from work?
Nap. I'm good at
napping.
He's pretty good at drinking beer, too.
Drinking beer.
Yeah. I forgot about that one. I don't know how.
How can he forget about that one? He talks about it all the time. But napping, strangely enough, napping could be a superpower for you because you do it probably better than most other people do, and that recharges your batteries and gets you going for the rest of the day, maybe into the evening if you have gigs or something that you have to do. So that could be a superpower. Now, at work, away from the microphone.
Oh, it's also napping. Would be napping here, too.
That's better than what I had. So, whatever it happens to be, I mean, some people really aren't aware. Mm-hmm. They're oblivious to that. They just go throughout their day and they just do the best they can. But other people look at them differently. And think of how we look at other people, certain other people, and we consider, boy, they're really good at this. And that becomes their superpower.
So if I was pressed on it, and it's something that works in my personal life and it works in my business life as well, it's the fact that I don't freak out.
Okay.
I'm very, very careful about it. And things go wrong everywhere. I mean, there's no way you're never ever going to have the perfect day, the perfect week, the perfect month, the perfect life. But every once in a while, you see people and they just lose it when something goes wrong. And I try not to be the guy that loses it. I try to get above, weather the storm, and get to the next thing.
Now that is a superpower.
Okay, I knew I'd get one.
But on the other hand, it's either a superpower or you don't understand the situation, as they say, right? When people are all running in one direction, right, to get away from something, and you're not, that's what that definition of not understanding what's going on.
That's an interesting point. That's the extra point. If you like it, then go to GuamTraining.com on the World Wide Web and download this and virtually every single other extra point that we've ever done here on the radio. They're all there archived for you and your business and your life at GuamTraining.com. Thanks,
Thank you,
Cheryl. See you pretty soon. 7:31, 7:32, and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. Port Authority of Guam board member Maria Taitno will not step down from the port board. That leaves governor's nominee Camilla Leon Guerrero Durking in limbo. Following the monthly board meeting Tuesday, Taitno told the Guam Daily Post that she intends to stay on until her term of service ends in June next year. In a letter to Taitno on March 11th, the governor wrote that she was exercising her authority to make an appointment to Taitno's position on the board. However, Taitno says the governor doesn't have the authority to remove her, citing a 2013 opinion from the Attorney General, which states that a board member may only be removed for cause upon charges following a hearing. The reason for that, states the opinion, is to insulate the board directors from political interference. The governor had appointed Camilla Durking to fill Taitno's seat on the board. Durking was widely praised during her confirmation hearing April 17th, but committee chairman Senator Clint Rigel telling the Post that he will not report Durking's nomination out of his committee unless there is a vacancy to fill on the port board. Several public officials here and in the CNMI, along with community activists, have signed a joint letter opposing the proposed separation of the Mariana Islands Testing and Training Programmatic Agreement into two distinct agreements for each community. Senator Kelly Marsh, who heads the legislature's Committee on Regional Affairs, submitted the letter to Naval Facilities Engineering Command Pacific. The letter has 34 signatures on it. In her letter, Marsh wrote that the Department of Defense addressed Guam and the CNMI together in its supplemental environmental impact statement, and it's clear that our environmental, cultural, and historical resources are tightly intertwined. March and the other signatories wrote that separating the programmatic agreement between Guam and the CNMI has the potential to cause irreparable harm to both communities by limiting their ability to become aware of or respond to certain actions by the military. A stranded traveler was the welcome recipient of Guam's hospitality this past week after arriving on island unsure of where he was or how he got here. 70-year-old retiree Earl Allen arrived last week on Wednesday. He told the Guam Daily Post he was vacationing in Manila when he boarded a flight back home to the States, but mistakenly arrived on Guam, he said. Allen told the Post he got here with little money and no ticket out. He was able to pay for a one-night stay at the Wyndham Garden, but ended up back at the airport where he slept on a bench for 5 days. That's where United Airlines team leader Audibert Lizama encountered him on Monday and extended a helping hand. Lizama said his customer service team likes to help people, and he spread the word, and soon airport police and ticket agents were stopping by Allen's bench with water and food. Others bought him a set of fresh clothes and toiletries. On Wednesday, Lizama donated his personal Mileage Plus miles to purchase Allen a ticket back home to Boise, Idaho. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Yeah, I tell you what, that gets you right in the feels, that story, and all of the different ways that people found to help this guy out and get him on his way home. A terrific story, and I'm glad that you guys found it. 7:35 in the morning, and we'll call that iConnect time. Go to iConnect and ask them about the phone plans that they've got that aren't going to set you back into last century or cause you a whole lot of spending. Look, a lot of people just want to make and receive a phone call. They got plans for people just like that. You know who you are. Give them a ring, 888-8888.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Traffic gizmo time at 7:36. Is there traffic this morning? Yes, there's traffic this morning, but not as busy as you might imagine. You might get a little bit of backup on the way into Anderson Air Force Base, but otherwise it'll be all right. We're coming out of Ukadu and Stumbo. You might see some traffic. Route 3 making your way to Marine Corps Drive. That is going to meet some northbound traffic, but if you're headed southbound on Marine Corps Drive towards Kmart, DPW area, should be fairly smooth sailing through there as well. It's like there's no school today. What's that all about? 8, 10, and 16 running generally in the clear. You will find a couple of spots where it goes slow over by the intersections. 10 and 15 for sure. Route 4 and 10. But once you're on 4, going to be a clear shot right up until you get up to Ganya Heights and Sinanya. Then into downtown Agutya area. You're not going to have any problems. Looking at traffic building up just a little bit in front of Navy Hospital. And if you're headed down to Big Navy in Sumai, well, guess what? They got the slow salute guy at the front gate, so it might take you a little bit to get in there. It's 7:37, and that's right now traffic here on The Point.
It's Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary, and to celebrate, we are giving away a new Kia Soul LX, a Mazda 3i Sport, the popular Honda Civic LX, and 30 Manila Flyaways during our 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway. Win 3 great cars from Triple J Auto Group, 30 Flyaways from Philippine Airlines, plus thousands of prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker when you play Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway.
Kenny Williams online this morning. Cindy Knudsen Guzman, Fran Lizama, and others are chiming in here as we make our what time is it? Is it 7:38? Yes, it is. Almost 8 o'clock, almost drive time. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, if you're in Facebook Live, I put a link up to the goodhumorcompany.com on the World Wide Web with a picture of what it is that I'm looking for. And a buddy of mine that can get on base says he might be able to find some of those chocolate eclair bars from Good Humor. I don't know. It's a food morning. I don't know why. I don't know. You know, maybe I do. I ate twice at the thing last night at the Hyatt, and looking forward to opportunities to eat twice at a couple more things that are coming up. Habitat for Humanity Quiz Night on Friday, and those of you that have plans to be at the 95th celebration of the Chamber of Commerce. We'll see me there as well. The theme this year, I believe, is Men in Black. So I got to go find myself a black tight jacket and a skinny tie and the kind of shades that they wore in the movie, and I'm going to have a good time with that. Also got an idea of what some of the games are that we're going to be playing on Saturday night. Share that with you in a little bit. Commissioner Roy Gamboa is online. Austin Baird says aquaculture may be a great investment for Guam, but for shrimp, producing for local consumption is an option, but there may be better things to grow. Shrimp is a 3 million ton plus industry. So unless we go for elect high-end market or select high-end market, that's what you're saying, it probably would not be successful. Imports are still too cheap to do, and that's Austin Baird. Well, you know, Austin, I hate to disagree with you, but the Bubbaloo from the Bubbaloo Shrimp Company, they've looked into this, and that's why we're going to we got an aquaculture task force in here. And all we need to do is, you know, obviously we're going to figure out how to grow it in significant bulk, this pathogen-free shrimp that they're talking about. And maybe that's the great equalizers, because it's pathogen-free. It's got less dirt and germs and AIDS in it, that maybe we could sell that for a premium and thus not have to do the millions of ton-plus industry that you're talking about.
We here at 93.3 The Point are actually being very proactive in this effort. And, in fact, next hour you can tune into this program and see Aquaman himself.
Really? Oh, that's true. That's true. And pathogen-free Aquaman, as a matter of fact. Anyway, so
that may be a stretch.
But in my mind, I get what you're saying, and you know, you're talking about what kind of scale here that we're talking about, and I don't know. I'm not one of those industrial type guys. All I'm thinking is we're going to make a whole bunch of shrimp, and then what we need to do. It sounds funny, but we need to become Shrimp Island. We literally need to, you know, and I'm not saying forget the Carabao, right? or the cute little geckos that we've got floating around here. But we're going to need to find a way to make a shrimp character that is unique to Guam, and then we'll get guys like Chef Peter, my buddy Kevin from over at Pokey Fry, Mosa's, and the chefs over at Jeff Pleadwell's place over at Pirates Cove, and say, here's shrimp, and give me 10 things. Right? Give me 10 things, and we'll do taste tests all over the island, and we'll come up with a bunch of these things. And I don't know, just as much as we can, far and wide, send the word out that we've got the best tasting, germ-free shrimp that we've got in the whole wide world. And if you want it, you have to come to Guam to get it.
What's the Chamorro word for shrimp?
I forgot. Uheng.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of a name.
But the other thing is, and something that is also very unique to Guam is shrimp kellywood. Have you ever had?
No.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
Dude.
Yeah.
Bro. 742, very close, very dear personal friend. I got Jimmy Moreland. Hey, Senator, how you doing?
Pretty good. Speaking of dude, I was with the first dude last night having a cocktail, doing some celebrations. And speaking of the shrimp, Ray, I make some great shrimp cocktail sauce. Once we get the shrimp farm going, I'm going to make that over, and I'll bring that over to you.
Everybody, we should. No, why are you waiting? It's okay. I'll take the stuff with the pathogens in it. You go to Happy Mart and you get the big one. Don't get the little ones, all right? I want you to get the ones like there's 10 per pound or something like that. I want the big ones. Heads on. Got to be heads on. So before we get to talk about the nonsense at the legislature yesterday, and I got Bob Klitsky and I are going to talk about this a little bit more because I'm not sure they did it right, buddy. Do you remember a place called what was it? KUAM is there now, but there used to be a local beer joint there. Brew House was the name of it, and it was run by Helmut Schultz and his wife. Helmut used to be one of the guys at the Hilton. He used to high up there, executive chef or boss or something like that. But he had a dish called gumbas, which is shrimp, and it's the easiest recipe in the whole wide world. It is equal parts butter and virgin olive oil.
Oh.
And you can throw lots and lots of garlic in there. And on top of that, then it's a little packet of Pizza Hut chili flakes, right?
Perfect.
Put that all into it, and then you throw your shrimp in there, and you eat it with garlic bread.
With your favorite brew.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it absolutely perfect. And, just be careful because it's easy to ruin shrimp by overcooking and undercooking. So, just try to figure out where the sweet spot is in your kitchen. But give it a shot. Like I said, it's the easiest recipe in the whole wide world. And for those batching it these days, if you're batching it, that is a great first date meal.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help. There's guys.
Yeah.
All right. 744. So anyway, it looks like the Guam Daily Post with their story here. Where is it? Page 2, page 3, or something like that. Page 4. Gambling rules approved. And there is apparently a little bit of a drama here. The addition of language is prohibition against gambling contained in Chapter 64, Title 9 shall not apply to games of chance for the Guam Island Fair and Liberation Day Carnival authorized by this act. And then all of a sudden, all of the killjoys that you work with over there said, oh, see, backdoor. That's it. Now we've just legalized casino gambling on Guam with this backdoor deal. Do you see it the same way?
I do not. I see it for the 60 days that we have our 75th anniversary carnival event. No, I do not, Ray.
Okay.
But it was a good point they brought up. They did have their arguments. They said it compassionately, but at the end it was a 10-5 vote. So nice try.
Okay, so, and for those of you keeping track, the Killjoys, Telena Nelson, Sabina Perez, Therese Terlai, Regine Bisco-Lee, and Mary Torres have voted against the measure. Now, the question that I had for Bob Klitsky, and it's not so much, there might be something in your legislation that created the opportunity for the Mayor's Council, et cetera, to come up with the rules and regulations, but Peter Terlahi's bill doesn't do that. His bill is simple. The legislature hereby adopts the rules and regulations as amended and attached as Exhibit A, entitled Rules and Regulations for Games of Chance pursuant to PL 35-4. It doesn't say anything in that measure which provides for the legislature to make any amendments on what the mayors have proposed.
They did send it to our committee for review, or Peto's committee actually for review, and there was a public hearing on it. and at that point from the public hearing, then amendments were adjusted. Then it was brought to the floor during session as amended per committee.
But the floor amendments that took place that changed the rules and regulations were not promulgated by the Mayor's Council of Guam. They were promulgated by the legislators themselves, and that's not what the intent of the legislation was. The intent was adopt or don't adopt.
Can be, but also during session floor, we can make adjustments through amendments.
And so that's the point that Bob Klitsky is making. It's no longer rules and regulations. We didn't adopt anything. The legislature has promulgated by law the rules surrounding this, but it's not Mayor's Council anymore.
As worded, that's correct.
Yeah,
but it's still on session floor. That authority is there. It's open.
Right. But it is not, as you were striving to do, a product from the Mayor's Council. It is now a product of the legislature.
It did grow rather to finally get the approval of the majority.
Okay,
Correct.
and so now you've got that. And I don't know whether you're going to have to go backwards on this or what Judge Klitsky's suggestions are going to be, but it is also possible that legal over at the governor's office is going to have to take a look at this as well before they're comfortable signing off on the package.
And our legal side would have to put it all together and then submit it to the governor for her signature. That's correct.
All right. Now, the community around here, sick up and fed with all of the criminal sexual conduct. We're sick up and fed with recidivists and people that are getting out there on pretrial release and committing yet more sins, more crimes against the community. In fact, I don't know if you've seen this front page of the Pacific Daily News. Mayors call for a review of juvenile penalties. And I love this, man. As Umatic Mayor Johnny Kanata says, these guys need to be whipped and need to be taught a lesson. Johnny, I am with you. I am with you.
It's true. For me, at least, that did help me. Sometimes I did get my whippings and I forgot what I did, but all I knew was
I ain't doing that again.
Upset again. Right?
Yeah, I'm not, whatever it was that made those people mad, they took a belt to me. I am not going to do that anymore. Is that going to be among the next things that you do? I think now that we've got two 14-year-olds and a 10-year-old senator that got busted for joyriding in a car, and they let somebody out, and he went and stole again. We've got to do a lot more by way of sealing off that revolving door over at the courthouse.
That's correct. If we can, it's very unfortunate that the child, because it's a minor, has that feeling that they can just go out there and take control of whatever they want.
Well, it's not just the minors. It's not just the minors. There's another story. God, I looked at this and I became angry when I saw this. Robbery suspect seeks release. Chris Jr. Anderson Tatautau, man arrested on suspicion of robbing two tourists in East Agana, is seeking release from detainment. Held on a $50,000 cash bail, Tatautau has pled not guilty to a slew of charges and wants to go home. And I'm going, what? And caught on video surveillance in a robbery at the Tamuning Plaza Hotel. He's got a criminal record going back to 2009 and apparently knows how to ask the right questions. I honestly can see somebody going, did you want to get out of jail? Oh, okay. We'll come back later when it's time. I can honestly see something like that happen.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. We want to take some responsibility for your the crime that you committed, right? But following the rules of law, that's how it goes, and that's why we're introducing, or we have introduced, about 3 bills stiffening those crimes. But I also got some statistics regarding our Korean tourists, right, and some information about when, especially our tourists, when they are assaulted, robbed, and hurt. Some of them were even injured, but the figures it's really disappointing, and we're up by 64, a higher percentage this year than the previous years. Like number of cases just on Korean tourists alone, reported accidents and incidences are in 2018 there were 221 number of cases. and that's a rate increase from the previous of 102% rate increase. So
there's been a 102% increase in the number of crimes committed against tourists?
Just on the Korean market itself. So we're looking at getting other data too with the Japanese market as well. And then we have introduced a bill regarding crimes done specifically against our tourists, because that's not only against the person, but it's also against our economy.
Yeah.
Feeds our island. So we want to get stricter on that, as well as the ones that commit crimes not on our tourists alone, but everybody in general. We're increasing the minimum sentencing. We're requiring the third degree to meet a minimum number as well. A lot of these plea bargains are done, and it could be at the judge. At that case, per the judgment or per the judge, but we need to be stronger. We need to show. We need to put that feeling in people, like, I'm not going to do that. Like if you go to Singapore, I don't even want to bring gum, but I love walking around because I feel safe. When our tourists come over here, we promote the island of a family place, plus a safe place to come and bring your family and enjoy our beauty. But that's not what we're seeing.
Right. The evidence to the contrary, because there are so many avenues for these guys to get out. There's another story, page 2 of the PDN. Robbery suspect whispered, "You got me," according to documents. And at the end of the story talks about this guy, Yam Nang, his first run-in with the law in November 2016, charged in 2 game room robberies, took a plea deal in that case in April of 2017. And I'm going, wait a second. Why are we pleading this? What does the Attorney General's office got to gain by going after all of these plea agreements with these clowns here? I don't understand it. There seems to be so many of them where these guys will take a plea, they'll cop a plea, and then they're back out in the streets causing more trouble.
Absolutely.
And I wish I had a better answer from the AG's office on why they aren't prosecuting more of these cases and putting more of these guys in jail.
It could be they're attempting, but when the judgment comes out, it's different than what they asked for. But I do recall, and I had that.
Well, that's just, I'm sorry, there's lawyering. And I suppose that's all right if you get the right kind of lawyer behind you. I mean, I've often said if I ever get in trouble, depending on what kind of trouble I get into, you might want to find if it's Cunliffe, because I like Cunliffe. He gets guys out all the time. And so he's going to be the guy. If I ever get in trouble, serious problem, you call Randy and make sure that he meets me at the jailhouse.
And the tough judge I remember and really enjoyed was Judge Abati.
Oh, Judge Abati. Okay, so we're gonna have to this now the myth and legend of Guam. I was there on a traffic citation once upon a time before I was a good driver, a better driver. I'd gotten a speeding ticket, and so I'm there and I'm sitting in the same row. This old courthouse, right? Sitting in the same row as this guy that thought he was gonna get smart with the judge, and so the guy calls him up and this back in the old days, it's just traffic court, so you just stand up and make your plea. And a guy stood up. He says, "How do you plead?" And he says, "Not guilty, Your Honor." And in fact, I would like to ask the police officer who issued this citation to come to the court and defend the citation and tell me about the calibration of his speed checking gear. And Judge Abati says, "Well, it's going to take a while before we can do that." And the guy says, "That's okay, I'll wait." He says, "Fine, then we'll have you wait in the jail." and put him behind bars. Said, "Okay, well, we're going to wait for the guy. We'll wait for the cop. We'll make the call and have him come out here. But in the meantime, you are a guest of the court."
Right. There you go.
And boy, that got me reconsidering what I thought was going to be my conversation with the Honorable Judge Abati. Yeah, hang and judge that guy. We need like 8 more like him.
There you go. There you go. And I recall some stories where he gave the option, you want to go to jail, or would you like to join the service? Let me give you those 2 options, or even go to Washington and pick apples.
I've heard that. I knew a couple of guys. I knew a couple of guys that had that. They got into all kinds of trouble, and the last time they were together in front of the judge made them that offer. You may either join the military, or it's exile, and they chose exile because the only other choice after that was go to jail. And how do I want to say this? They were too pretty for jail.
Yeah. So I feel we need to get tougher. Make sure that the people understand these rules are in place. The law is there, and if you break the law, you're going to jail, and it's going to be some hard time, and hopefully you shake out of it.
When are the hearings on your measures?
We're trying to get this to the floor. Hopefully we get some public hearings by next month. So it's a matter of working with my colleagues there to get it into the right committees and get it heard to the people.
You'd think they'd go a little bit faster on that. I mean, we got the rules and regs promulgated in a reasonably short amount of time, medicinal recreational marijuana in a reasonable short amount of time. Maybe we ought to be able to push through some of this legislation that would provide for these stiffer penalties and less plea bargaining opportunities and get some real lawyering taken care of.
Absolutely. I think we can get that done.
Okay.
I'm sure we can get it done.
I'll count on you.
Thank you.
All right. Senator, I'm going to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
You have a great day.
I already did, actually.
There you are.
Yeah. It's 8 o'clock. The program's halfway over. We've already hit a couple of home runs. I think we're going to be all right for the rest of it. You have a terrific day, and it's almost time for another summit. So call me next time you're over at the place.
Absolutely.
You the man, Senator Jimmy Moylan on the Ray Gibson Show, 7:57 and change. And what happened to Klitsky? I thought we were going to try to get Klitsky's. Would he split? Busy? I'm sorry. He says I got hit in the eye with the air quotes. He's busy. So we'll get caught up with him before too much longer, because there is still the chapter and verse of how the legislature was able to take something that was adopt or not adopt and then turn that into what is now apparently the legislature's rules and regulations about the casino gaming and the games of chance over at the Liberation Carnival. How much fun is that Liberation Carnival going to be? Does this now solve whether the procedures were done right? Does this now solve all of the issues that we had with the gaming, or is this just going to put more topping on top of everything? The idea, and I got to check the as passed version because I want to find out what it is that they did. According to Kevin Kerrigan, games of chance may be one of those things that you have to actually, before you pay red, you're going to have to go up to somebody and show them your ID. And it is also possible that if you win something, you might get a receipt, so that you can give that to somebody over at the Department of Revenue and Taxations. So I don't know. I think we've managed to complicate things up unnecessarily, but that's just me. We'll get the answers on some of those questions for you a little bit later on in the program. And yeah, just because I think it's funny, I am going to re-quote again the line from Dumatic Mayor Johnny Canatta. He attributed thefts to a lack of corporal punishment, which can be considered child abuse. These kids need to be whipped and need to be taught a lesson. And we didn't call that child abuse back in the olden days. We called that responsible child rearing. I am not advocating for beating in any way, shape, or form children, but I was at the receiving end of a belt called justice. I was at the receiving end of the flying slipper of doom in the house, and I turned out kind of okay.
Yeah, I just called it what happened when I got out of line.
Yes, seeing stars. Wow, where'd that come from? Well, look at that. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Where'd that come from? Coming up, Fox News Live on the other side of that. We'll find out what the big deals are over at the Guam Daily Post and all the top stories that they're talking about today. And Blake Watson be in the studio. It's Aquaman going along with our aquaculture feature here on the program. And so we're going to pretend to talk about sports. That's all ahead right here on the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point KUSG, Ganya.
This is a Fox News alert. He won't appear. I'm Lisa Lacera. Attorney General William Barr will not testify before the House Judiciary Committee tomorrow. A House Judiciary Committee aide tells Fox News today there were fiery exchanges between Democratic lawmakers in the Senate and Barr as he was grilled about the Mueller report.
Hawaii Democratic Senator Mazie Hirono used her allotment of time to accuse Attorney General Barr of condoning the president's alleged obstruction of justice. And that brought this rebuke from Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham.
Listen, you've slandered this man.
Yeah, what I sort of want to know is how do we get to this point?
I do not think that I'm slandering anyone.
All I can say,
Mr. Chairman, I am done. Thank you very much.
Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy called Barr's testimony at a House hearing last month concerning the Mueller report purposely misleading.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. One day after a deadly shooting at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, officials open up about the incident. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, the university's chancellor says the campus is still struggling through the tragedy. The investigation continues into why Tristan Terrell opened fire on the campus Tuesday, killing 2 and injuring 4 others. Authorities did single out one of those killed, Riley Howell. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Chief Kerr Putney says Howell had a choice.
You're going to hide and shield, or you're going to take the fight to the assailant. Having no place to run and hide, he did the last.
Chief Putney says that action saved lives. Howell and the other victims are being remembered at a campus vigil getting underway this hour, Lisa.
Gernal Wall Street at the close. Stocks gave up some early gains, ending broadly lower after the chair of the Federal Reserve appeared to play down the possibility of an interest rate cut this year. The Dow fell 162, the Nasdaq off 45, the S&P off 22. This is Fox News.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United credit card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United credit card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
GRMC's Neuroscience and Neurology Department treats a wide spectrum of disorders associated with the nervous system, spine, and brain. Some of the more common disorders include seizures, epilepsy, dementia, sleep disorders, migraine, and stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC's neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and the finest neurological doctors. To make an appointment, contact GRMC Specialty Clinics at 645-5500.
A second day of protests in Venezuela as the power struggle between disputed President Nicolas Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido deepens.
Now this afternoon, after a peaceful morning of protests, it's getting violent again. You can hear the pop, pop, pop of small arms fire all across Caracas. At least 20 people shot so far, and a real shift in tone. Juan Guaido, the opposition leader, said he was going to bring in humanitarian aid. He failed to do that. He said he was going to lead a military uprising against the dictator Maduro. He failed to do that. So after 4 months of marching, 4 months of protest, there is some real dissatisfaction and some anger setting in, and we are seeing some violence on both sides today here in Caracas.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Caracas. An online censorship watchdog group says Venezuela's state-run internet provider has again restricted access to services, including live streaming applications, YouTube, and translation products from Google and Microsoft. The first guilty pleas in the college admissions cheating scandal.
Bruce Isaacson, the president of a real estate development firm, and his wife Davina of Hillsborough, California, became the first to stand before a federal judge in Boston and plead guilty related to the college admissions scandal, pleading guilty to charges related to mail fraud. Mr. Isaacson also pled guilty to conspiracy to launder money and conspiracy to defraud the IRS. Prosecutors allege that the couple funneled $600,000 through the ringleader of the admissions scam, paying via Rick Singer's phony foundation for exam cheating and for bribes to college coaches.
Fox's Molly Line. Major TV networks hitting more lows than highs when it comes to using Asian American talent. That's according to a new study by the Asian Pacific American Media Coalition. The group finds ABC earned top grades with 11% of regular characters on its primetime programs. The assessments of primetime programs, including reality TV, based on the 2017 season. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic and Pika's best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at FHPGuam.com.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 o'clock. I'm Kevin Kerrigan, and here's a look at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Port Authority of Guam board member Maria Taitno will not step down from the port board. That leaves governor's nominee Camilla Leon Guerrero Durking in limbo. Following the monthly board meeting on Tuesday of this week, Taitno told the Guam Daily Post that she intends to stay on until her term of service ends in June next year. In a letter to Taitno back on March 11th, the governor wrote that she was exercising her authority to make an appointment to Taitno's position on the board. However, Taitno says the governor does not have that authority to remove her, citing a 2013 opinion from the Attorney General, which states that a board member may only be removed for cause upon charges following a hearing. The reason for that, states that opinion, is to insulate the directors from political interference. The governor had appointed Camilla Durking to fill Taitno's seat on the board. Durking was widely praised during her confirmation hearing in April, but committee chairman Senator Clint Rigel telling the Guam Daily Post that he will not report Durking's nomination out of his committee unless there is a vacancy to fill on the port board. Guam lawmakers last night voting to approve a measure that lays out the rules and regulations for games of chance at the Guam Island Fair and Liberation Day Carnival. The entire session was devoted to Bill 101. It lasted about 5 hours. Numerous amendments were made to the rules. Much of the debate revolved around the legality of allowing gambling again at the carnival. The vote on Senator Jose Terlahi's Bill 101 was 10-5, with Senators Talina Nelson, Sabina Perez, Therese Terlahi, Regine Bisco-Lee, and Mary Torres voting against it. Passage of the bill, followed by the governor's expected signature, will clear the way now for the Mayor's Council of Guam to issue a request for proposals from vendors interested in sponsoring those games of chance, which will include casino-style card games like Texas Hold'em held in a house of cards. Mayor's Council of Guam Executive Director Angel Sablan has said that the funds raised from the winning bidders for the games of chance are necessary to pay for all of the Liberation Day festivities. He's expressed some concern that time is running out. The start of the carnival is set for June 5th. We'll have more news after this.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igumamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Several public officials here and in the CNMI, along with community activists, have signed a joint letter opposing the proposed separation of the Mariana Islands Testing and Training Programmatic Agreement into two distinct agreements for each community. Senator Kelly Marsh, who heads the legislature's Committee on Regional Affairs, submitted the letter to Naval Facilities Engineering Command Pacific. The letter has 34 other signatures on it. In her letter, Marsh wrote that the Department of Defense addressed Guam and the CNMI together in its supplemental environmental impact statement, and it is clear that our environmental, cultural, and historical resources are tightly intertwined, she wrote. Senator Marsh and the other signatories wrote that separating the programmatic agreement between Guam and the CNMI has the potential to cause irreparable harm to both communities by limiting their ability to become aware of or respond to certain actions taken by the military. The homeless feeding program at the Dededo Senior Center was canceled yesterday following complaints of vandalism and fighting by some of the patrons. The program provided free meals for the homeless in the island's most populous village. It was sponsored by the Archdiocese of Agana Ministry to the Homeless, Kamalan Caridad. Dededo Mayor Melissa Savares was off island yesterday, but Vice Mayor Frank Benavente told the Guam Daily Post the program was shut down because the senior center was being damaged and there was violence among some of the patrons. Kamalan Caridad program coordinator Doris Royal said it's only a temporary setback. We still want to continue the program, she said. Royal said that the feeding center at the Kamalan Caridad location in Agana is still operating 7 days a week, and they are working on opening another feeding center in Tamuning as soon as next week. She declined to specify the location for that new feeding center in Tamuning, but an agreement is expected to be reached soon, and she hopes the new location can be announced by the weekend. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with some weather.
It says here partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. We're getting some cloud cover and a little bit more rain coming out of the sky these days, and we absolutely need it because it's dry. A very, very dry April. I'm not sure if that's a record dry, but it sure feels like it. Isolated showers out there. East winds up to about 15 miles an hour. Daytime high is expected to be about 89 degrees. Overnight lows want to be about 77. Sunset tonight at 6:36 if you're going to be out and about. In fact, I'd try to be out and about around sunset. It's been it's worth going outside and taking a picture of these days. Sunrise tomorrow morning earlier than 6 o'clock, about maybe 5:58, 5:59. That's what the almanac is telling us. Michael Knight now going to take a look and give you his poetic interpretation of the radar imagery.
Actually got numerous isolated showers out there, and you see the motion on these particular showers. You can actually see a line, if you will. You can imagine in your head from northwest to southeast, and that's kind of the direction these showers are moving, kind of up from the east-southeast. This is because we have a very weak tropical system to our southwest, and the 90 W invest is what it's called. And so we got a little bit of this trophiness coming over, some of the moisture getting lifted up, and that's what happens. We get a little rain out of it. Southside just got a pretty good shower. That's where they need it, down in the mountains down south. And we had a good shower move over the north side earlier this morning. More of the same will be the case for today. I might see a shower or two as we go on through. Looking at satellite here real quick. The low-level clouds, it's kind of clear in our area, but we do have some high-level clouds that are moving on over. And that tropical disturbance down there, you can almost see a little bit of a spin starting to take place in the clouds down there with 90W. It's going to move north, actually, and kind of parallel to us. As it does, it's going to drag up some of that moisture from the tropics over us. At least that's what the forecast says. So there's a better chance, actually, of getting some rain over the next 2 or 3 days, I think. And long-range models also showing another disturbance. It may actually pass over us or very close to us next week. It will be weak as well, but it will bring some rain also. And we really need the rain. That's the main thing.
All right, I got that. Now, because people, I'm going to go back to the satellite image here for just a second, because people will look at that and go, wow, look at all those clouds, and it's got the red in it, and it's washing right over the top of Guam. But that's not necessarily the vehicle for all of the rain that we're going to get. That's coming from the lower level clouds, right?
What the rain that's coming to us is actually these light-colored, light blue clouds that you see going from right to left. Those are at the surface. Those clouds you see with the oranges and reds, they're actually up at the upper levels. And they're kind of thick, but there's no rain up there. It's very dry, actually, in the layer in between. So that doesn't mean anything. It does mean that it will be a little cloudier. It'll take some of the edge off the sunshine for us today, which is much what happened on Tuesday.
Good. I forgot Tuesday. When was that? Yesterday was Wednesday, right?
Last I checked.
All right. Boys, I don't recall paying that much attention to it on Wednesday. All right, 8:15 in the morning, and that's news and weather here on The Point.
Get 2 Pepsi 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a Pepsi 12 pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See store for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get 2 Coke 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City. First choice for all of your specialty care needs. The guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar. Did I already tell you about American President lines? They're shipping the future. And, of course, the guys over at King's Restaurant where they took something from their past, their holiday past, and said, we're going to use this all the time. It's the Crazy 19 menu. All right, it's not that there's only 19 things on. There's a bunch of stuff on it, appetizers and entrees and desserts and plenty more. So find out all you can about it. You got the rest of the year at King's.
The sky's the limit with Bank Pacific's secure MyCloud banking. You can access your account 24/7 with your smartphone, your computer, your iPad, or any other tablet. You can pay bills, set up alerts, check your balances, wire transfer money. It's never been easier. Enroll online or come on in and see one of our friendly staff. Digital Life, Digital Solutions. Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Quarter after 8 o'clock still. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Nanbo Insurance. Save up to 50% with Nanbo Insurance's Bundle Up Plan. Call them today at 477-9754 and ask them how you can save money on things that you insure that you bought over at Cars Plus. Got a new motorcycle? Get it insured. Got a new car? Get it insured. Got a house that you're going to park it in? Get it insured. But more to the point of Cars Plus, you can get all of those things, cars and motorcycles. Not quite the houses yet, but maybe Jen knows somebody. So check it out at Cars Plus in Mighty. The other parts of the program brought to you by Security Title. Ron and Kim waiting to show you how well they can do and make sure that the property that you just bought doesn't have any blemishes. There's no dark karmic spots on the title. That's pretty much what they do over there. And, of course, Greg and his team over at Take Care want to take care of you.
Rediscover talk radio here. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
888-8255 is the telephone number around here, and it's the part where we pretend to talk about sports with Blake and I. Obviously, we have our own agenda. Mine is to kill the next 12 minutes. Blake has got some things that he wants to talk about, but if there's anything that you would like us to talk about in terms of sports, sporting events, sporting activities, then go to Facebook Live and start typing something to us now, and we'll be happy to get that on the air. Eddie Cruz saying, what's up, Blake?
Hey.
What's up?
How's it going?
Nice to see you there, Sharky. Got Joe Cruz online. I think it's the real Joe Cruz. June Bells Carino, Richard Leon, L.A. Camacho listening to us all the way from Florida. And what's the big sport in Florida? What is that like?
Highlight.
Highlight is the big sport there. So I've got an idea that could make Highlight more exciting.
Well, it's
alligators.
pretty exciting. That's
you
true.
Put alligators on the course with them and
build a moat.
I think it did. Yeah.
Because it's basically wall ball with a basket on your hand is Highlight, and you could build a moat right in the middle of the playing, because it looks kind of like how racquetball does. There's a big giant wall, then like a long narrow area of playing not field but court. So you could put a couple alligators just kind of hanging out in the court part.
And take it to the beginnings, take it to the actual origin story of Highlight, and that's actually play it with human body parts.
Right.
Yes.
Right. You could do that too.
Right?
No, yeah.
You know, I think it'd be more fun with tigers, because the tigers would chase the ball.
But there's no tigers. They're not supposed to be tigers. Yeah. I mean, what's the big predator cat in Florida?
Oh, they have
panthers.
They have panthers. Yeah.
No way.
They actually have a hockey team. The hockey team called the Florida Panthers. They have Panthers down there in Florida.
Yeah, most of them.
You guys are You guys are you're messing with me because I'm from here and I don't know anything about it.
Northern Florida in the forests. Yeah,
they're Panthers.
Panthers, absolutely.
Panthers. Yeah. If you Google the Florida Panther, the hockey team will go up.
I mean, but also, we got a Panther team around here somewhere, and we just know Panthers on Guam.
No, just the Florida Panther, not Panthers. Just Florida Panther. It will come up as an actual. It's the Florida Panther, North American cougar. Cougar population in South Florida lives in the pinelands, hardwood hammocks, and mixed swamp forests. Puma concolor corii. That's the scientific name. It's a
Florida Panther.
Yeah, just one, but no S.
You'll find those up around Gainesville, Tallahassee, up in the Panhandle, northern Florida.
There's a Florida Panther.
There's okay. I didn't know there were big cats in Florida.
It's a pretty,
I thought it was
pretty
just,
kitty. Now imagine that chasing the highlight balls around.
Yeah.
See, I can chase highlight balls around.
And that's
Fight
why
alligators.
so you were talking about body parts. That's how you're going to get them. Very, very cool. Well, the L.A. Camacho, thanks very much for giving us the inspiration. And that managed to kill 2 minutes. So what are we going to talk about for the next 10? Because it's time for Sports with Blake.
So I know we got baseball. Before we get to that, Mike Knight, I do have this interesting baseball story of high impossible odds out of Carlsbad, New Mexico, home of the Cavemen, by the way. I've been to Carlsbad, New Mexico. That's what their high school is, the mascot. They're the Cavemen. I guess because they have the caverns, the Carlsbad Caverns.
Yeah, those are big caves.
Yeah, they're nice, too.
Speaking of cavemen, there's a picture of me and my nephew again.
A softball pitcher and a baseball pitcher from the same New Mexico high school threw a perfect game and no-hitter, respectively, within 90 minutes of each other.
Wow.
The Carlsbad Current-Argus reports that Carlsbad High School softball pitcher Ashley Hernandez and baseball pitcher from Carlsbad High, TJ Reese, tossed their games on April 18th, just a few hundred feet apart, roughly about 100 meters from each other. Hernandez added 43 pitches against Roswell High School in 5 innings to record the perfect game, as Carlsbad won that one 11-0 in a run rule. Reese, he threw all 7 innings in a 9-0 victory against Clovis High School. Mathematicians say the odds of one New Mexico team accomplishing both goals of a no-hitter and a perfect game on the same day are 1 in 218 million.
Yeah, I mean, just the odds of even throwing a perfect game are in the 1 to million range.
Right.
You know, and then you did 2 people from the same school on the same day on the same field.
Yeah, the same
I mean, you're getting
property,
into
same
you're getting
campus.
into astronomical odds there.
So yeah, 1 in 218 million. So that was something fun.
Did anybody win a bet on it?
I don't think so. I don't think you can bet on that. I mean, but if you did, could you
Because
imagine?
you never know what was coming up.
Right, yeah, but could you imagine? And then we have the Royals. I guess they handled business pretty handily against the Red Hawks.
Yeah, they really did. No, they did. I hadn't pulled this up. You got the info? Go ahead.
I do. Well, I was going to say they got a big second inning, great defense, and lights out pitching from Mike Munoz. It was a mercy rule win over the Joint Red Hawks out at Paseo. Of course, 14-2 was the final score, and I'm waiting. Looks like we also have. I don't know. Do you have that schedule there in front of you? I don't have it
I
downloaded.
can see the schedule. It's really tiny, though.
Okay.
I will go standings real quick.
Yeah.
Royals are 5-1. Expos now 4-1. Red Hawks 4-2. Rays 3-2, starting to get a little space between the upper and lower ends. Blue Jays Junior Nationals at 2-3. Rangers 1-4. Rooks still winless at 0-5. Let me see if I can pull up this schedule. Real
All right,
quick.
while you're pulling that schedule up, I've got video here of fat baby girls dancing.
What are they?
I don't know. It's something that landed in one of my inboxes. I thought I'd share it with everybody who might not be. Because you could turn this into a sport. It'd be like fat baby girls wrestling.
It's like yeah, they look like and they're almost kind of pushing with their bellies,
with their
like sumo style.
Boom, yeah.
Like junior sumo style wrestling.
Which one is going to win? I don't know. It's the one with the black and white stripe pants.
It's a triple threat match too. There's 3 of them in there.
Little plastic chairs.
Little
That's all they need.
little WWE action there.
All right. Well, there's the entertainment portion of the program today. Somebody was calling data up. What were you looking for?
Well, I was looking at the schedule that I was sent, but it's a schedule that has number versus number, and so I have no idea what the numbers correspond to, so I'm not sure what games are coming up this weekend. All I know is there will be baseball at the Paseo Friday night, and also 2 games on Sunday.
Okay. And as far as 5Ks go, I've got the information that there's going to be one this weekend on the 4th. It's the Manahawk 5K, but I forgot where it's going to be.
It's usually down at Academy because it's that.
You're right. It is the Academy.
It's the Infinite Prague and it's the Mercy Heights 5K. I was a part of. Not a part of it, other than I just attended last year, and I got to tell you,
you're right.
I cleaned up on the raffle prizes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I got new dishes. I think I got some. I got a voucher somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, Manahawk run's always good. Plus, my kids go to Infinite Prague. So, I got to support.
Your sister will know.
Yeah, she knows.
No. Sister will know.
She knows.
That's when I was a kid. We'd do the procession, and sister knew who was there and who wasn't there, and if you weren't there, you were going to purgatory.
Yeah.
That's what was going to happen.
But
to
yeah,
you.
the Academy parking lot is where we leave from.
Okay,
for that
so
one.
yeah, regular start time, regular go time this weekend over there. That's on the 4th. On the 12th, the Rotary's 5K, and that's going to be an EPOW. And on the 18th, the Agate Mango Race, the Mango Festival's Mango 5K is going to be taking place down there in the beautiful village of Agate Town.
Of Agate, that's when did you say that is?
That one will be on the 18th.
18th, okay.
It's the 18th of May, and very, very well attended race. For the most part, flat. There's a couple of challenging places, but it's one of those races I've always enjoyed. My favorite races are the ones where they say, "Get in the car, we'll see you down in Agate." I absolutely. There's a 10K that the running club does,
and that's rare too. Rare to get a 10K.
Yeah, it's a 10K that they. I want to say it originally started as a 5K, but they figured everybody wanted to run back to their cars anyway, so we'll just go ahead and make it just round it up to the 10. And I did notice, you'd mentioned the other day the number of people that are out there that you're starting to see a lot more people that are running these days. And near as I can tell, they might just be dieting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But like I said, and it has been raining, or the last couple of weeks, it has been raining earlier in the morning. So maybe they're just trying to enjoy the rain because throughout the other
coming
day.
in cool. Yeah. There's something else that I shared this with the viewers on Facebook Live a little bit earlier. I'll do it again because I know that
I saw this on your Facebook.
Because it's crazy big. We got to figure out how to get ourselves some of this stuff. I mean, if they're not going to have it cost you less or pay less or something like that, we've got to figure out a way that we can fly this in from somewhere. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, between you and I, we know everybody in the airline business.
Yeah, I think.
So we ought to see if we can press like Captain Pierre over at United, right? The chief of the pilots for Guam.
The head pilot.
Head pilot, right?
Yeah.
So he ought to be able to, because he's a jet airplane guy, right? Fly someplace where they have this. Send somebody, because they're like that. They're judges. They're captains. They can do that, right? They can send like the navigator or an engineer.
Scout. Just going to scout out front.
Go buy this for Ray and Blake, and then we'll bring it back on the airplane and then fly it back. We just, and just leave it up in the cockpit.
Australia, you think that's the closest place that has that? I can't see that being up in any part of the Asia.
But why not?
It could be, but I don't know.
Look, it's Kit Kat. We're talking about.
Because it would be green tea or something if it was in the Asia.
Yeah, but that is okay.
That's
so
still good.
how many different Kit Kat flavors are there in Japan? I think the number's over 200.
Do you have a favorite?
Of the one from Japan?
Yeah, any of the ones from Japan.
It's the one that tastes like chocolate.
There's one, I think they use like a white chocolate and it's sake flavored. So if you ever get your hands on the sake Kit Kats, they are a thing. They exist. I bought them myself. They're really, really good. Sake Kit Kats.
Every chance you get, you see these people from Guam that have never been to the airport in Narita, and they kind of hover around the Kit Kat place and
that
go,
and the Royce chocolate.
And the Royce
right?
chocolate. I didn't know they had all of this stuff. Yes, they have all of this stuff. All right, I'm doing a quick Google search on this. 10 unique Kit Kat flavors from Japan: green tea, strawberry cheesecake, sweet potato, wasabi, choco banana, lemon, and try this one on for size. How about apple vinegar?
Weird.
Could you?
No.
No, not me either.
No.
I don't know that I could.
What does it taste like?
Apple and vinegar.
Well, maybe like apple cider vinegar, or like more of like apple vinegar.
I may defer. I might defer that to our online friends.
I'll just show you, just to let you know.
Big sister Shelley says she's got Royce in the fridge, but
that's the sake one.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that picture. And it looks like an actual sake bottle.
Yep.
So 8:28 in the morning, and so that's among the things that we're chasing around here. If you know somebody that can get their hands on that, you know what? I'm cheap, but Blake will pay.
Yes.
So hook up with him.
I order lots of money worth of hot sauces and have them sent to me. So yeah, I'll pay.
Yeah, you are that guy. Well, if you're craving the Japanese stuff, my daughter gets this. It's a monthly box that comes from Japan, and it's all these Japanese kawaii snacks that they've got there, and like little cartoon characters and gums and
they
Kit
send
Kats.
that out here too.
Yeah, they send it out here
because you can do that with like gear too. You can get what am I saying? They're like uncrate,
like boy stuff.
Yeah. Like little chargers and like a handkerchief and gear,
something like that.
Gear and gadgets.
So get into all of that stuff. So that's all I've got. Those are my contributions.
I do have this one last announcement I'm going to do. May 14th, University of Guam women's basketball team has announced open tryouts, 7 p.m. May 14th out at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. This announced by UOG Athletic Ed Director Doug Palmer. Cecile Olandez, who is the brand new head coach for the Lady Tritons, will lead the tryout, and the final roster in a women's varsity league is expected to start in September, and a second league at the beginning of 2020. So if you are a basketball player without a home and you are that age, maybe UOG Women's Triton Basketball is for you.
Okay, so I'm looking at this picture, and I was originally thinking of Fat Baby Wrestling, but now I'm looking at the picture again. I'm looking at the video, and I'm thinking there's a legislature joke in here somewhere. There is somebody. I've got the pills in my head because I'm sick, but somebody out there that is not sick, that is less distracted than I am, is going to be able to put together a killer legislature joke based on the Fat Babies Wrestling on the screen right now.
That's why they do what they do. That's
exactly.
why I love the internet.
Exactly. There it is. All three branches of government there, ladies and gentlemen. It's 8:30 in the morning, and that's all the time that we got to pretend to talk about sports. Blake Watson's going to go finish the morning show over on Star 101. Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, we have big stuff going on Cinco de Mayo. Speaking of sports, there's going to be tons of beach and fun sun in the sun sports.
Cornhole,
Beersby.
Yeah, I've seen Beersby.
I'm refereeing a very unorthodox volleyball game because I've been told the rules, and basically there are no rules apparently.
Nice. So that's going to be Cinco de Mayo. It's going to be over at Jimmy D's place, and like I said, I was watching people practice their cornholing going on over at the place. There's got to be an interesting origin story for cornhole.
Maybe I'll figure that out because where I come from, we play washers. You play washers, little washers, kind of the same thing as cornhole, only you use washers instead of a beanbag.
The beanbag?
But it's the same thing. There's holes drilled into a board, set apart, and you pitch it, in there, and you get points for getting on the board and then getting in the hole.
I think it's the next big thing. 8:31 in the morning. Kevin Kerrigan's got your headlines next.
I'm Edward James Olmos, here to remind you that the second Saturday in May is the annual Letter Carrier Food Drive. The need for food assistance remains high in communities across America, but you can help. Simply leave a bag of non-perishable food near your mailbox on the second Saturday in May, and your letter carriers will do the rest. All food collected stays within your local community. So on the second Saturday in May, please join me and the National Association of Letter Carriers and stamp out hunger.
That's what it looks like. Andy's talking about another Kit Kat flavor. It's that is basically it's just chocolate and mint. And I'm going, well, that's an Andy's, isn't it? It used to give you that when you walked into cable TV back in the old days. Big Sister Shelley saying, avoid the apple vinegar one because it tastes like blank. Okay, I think I know which one you're talking about. Joe Cruz is looking for the Piggy Kit Kat flavor, and we'll see what happens. Just get creative. Don't you know it's just time to be creative? Isn't it? One of the top stories in the last couple of days is the governor coming out and saying that we need a task force, ladies and gentlemen. What is it, a task force against criminal sexual conduct predators out there chasing after little girls in the bus stop? No, we need an aquaculture task force. But it still gets the imagination going.
Here on Guam, we'll create the fried chicken skin Kit Kat.
Yes, to follow the meme around all morning. And if you don't know what the heck we're talking about, I'm not surprised. Just one of those things where we step into and out of a stream of consciousness and we'll retrieve every once in a while something that we've said before. We say it time after time after time. Best source for news on Guam is the Guam Daily Post. Their managing editor is Kevin Kerrigan with me this morning with headlines.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. Guam Supreme Court Chief Justice Catherine Merriman delivering the State of the Judiciary address yesterday at the Guam Congress Building. In her speech, she highlighted the judiciary's request for nearly $39 million in the 2020 fiscal year. She said our budget seeks a very conservative increase, explaining that the funds are needed to take on the growing cost of delivering justice on island. I trust that you all recognize the vital role that the judicial branch of government plays in protecting the liberties and rights of our people, said Merriman. Members of the Guam Bar, island senators, and other GovGuam leaders gathered for the speech. They broke into applause when Justice Merriman requested support for the Criminal Justice Automation Commission, which he said greatly streamlines and improves the work throughout our law enforcement community. This was Merriman's third and final State of the Judiciary address as Chief Justice. Her term ends later this year. Chris Jr. Anderson Tatautau, who's being held on allegations of robbing 2 tourists in East Agana, is seeking release from jail while he awaits trial. Tatautau has pleaded not guilty. He's being held on $50,000 cash bail. He's facing allegations of robbery and theft, as well as possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. At his initial appearance, Magistrate Judge Jonathan Kwan told Tatautau that his case would be assigned to presiding Judge Alberto Lamorena, and Tatautau would have to take the issue of his release up with that judge. Tatautau has a criminal record that includes a 2009 case of burglary and conspiracy to commit burglary and another burglary charge in 2011. A stranded traveler was the welcome recipient of Guam's hospitality this past week after arriving on island unsure of where he was or how he got here. 70-year-old retiree Earl Allen arrived last week Wednesday. He told the Guam Daily Post that he was vacationing in Manila when he boarded a flight that he thought would take him back to the States. Instead, he mistakenly arrived on Guam, he said. Allen told the Post that he arrived with little money, no ticket back out to the States. He was able to pay for a one-night stay at the Wyndham Garden, but ended up back at the airport where he slept on a bench for 5 days. That's where United Airlines team leader Audibert Lizama encountered him on Monday and extended a helping hand. Lizama said his customer service team likes to help out people, and word was spread, and soon airport police and ticket agents were stopping by Allen's bench with water and food. Others brought him a set of fresh clothes and toiletries from Kmart. On Wednesday, Lizama donated his personal Mileage Plus miles to buy Allen a ticket back to his home in Boise, Idaho. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Okay, it's 8:36. That's iConnect time. Call iConnect at 888-8888 and ask them about plans that will get you all kinds of incredible telecommunications opportunities. We're talking about Facebook and WhatsApp, and maybe you being able to celebrate being able to watch this on your very own iConnect-enabled phone. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've all got to have access to wrestling fat babies. And the way to do that is by getting on board with iConnect. 888-8888.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
8:37, almost 8:38. How are we doing on second string traffic? It's something I've always referred to this as second string traffic. The first string traffic is where, like, the really important people get to work and need to be in the office by 8 o'clock. Second string traffic is usually like bosses and presidents of the company and things like that that are ambling in around 9. Well, if you're ambling in, shouldn't be too much of a problem. You might have a little bit of a delay getting through 1 and 3, although it looks like the majority of that delay is still on Route 3. Once you hit Marine Corps Drive, any direction, you should be good to go. Route 8, 10, and 16. It's all right. A little bit of a build as you make your way past the McMobile station up on Route 8, but then it's clear right up until you get down to that intersection across from Pokey Fry. And then we've got the downtown Hagåtña area on the other side of all of that. Again, your shopping center and the courthouse where traffic is building up at that intersection. A little bit of traffic over in front of Navy Hospital, but it looks like it is moving, and still a little bit of a delay getting into Big Navy in Sumai. It's 8:38. That's right now traffic on the point.
Whether you're going grocery shopping, taking the kids to the mall, or going to work, you need a reliable car that can take you where you need to go. A reliable car also needs reliable insurance. Let Nanbo Insurance make your auto insurance easy and uncomplicated. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
usually the time where Facebook will send me notes about who I know that is having a birthday today, and I don't need Facebook to tell me about this one in particular. Guy's name is Rico Blancaflor, and if you are if you are big on the Facebook live broadcast, you know that Rico is usually among the very first of the Facebook chatters that signs on, and usually hangs out until practically the end of the show. And so I want to say thanks very much for watching and listening, and thanks for being such a big part of our Facebook family. Speaking of family, it was your wife, Julia, that said that today was your birthday. So I want to pass that along. I've already done it on the Facebook Live, but I want to make sure I get some time on the actual radio to say thanks, because hey, it's like this. You know, I try not to ever take anything for granted. There are a lot of other entertainment information shows, sources, audio and video that you could be listening to or watching, but right now you're listening to and or watching me on Facebook Live, and I want to say thank you very much. It really does mean a lot to me. I used to say that before there was the internet, before there was proliferation of all kinds of channels. It was always important, but now that you've got entertainment sources, Spotify and Pandora and YouTube and all of these other places, the fact that you and I are together here, that's a big deal to me. So, again, thanks very much. 19 away from the top of the hour, 888-8255-888-TALK is the number. And a note here with this guy, because it is kind of interesting that he was able to get on an airplane. He thought it was supposed to be taking him home back to the United States, mainland, in Boise, Idaho, but got him here. You're not supposed to do that. Somebody at the ticket counter in the Philippines should have got in front of that. They're supposed to be checking, so I'm not sure. It's possible that he might have been so disoriented and distracted, and who hasn't after a weekend in Manila? It might have been that he was so disoriented and distracted, he just might have nodded his head through the whole thing. But that's, yeah, I'm feeling exactly the same way. United employees should be given an award by GVB for a perfect example of the Hafa-Day spirit. Guam International Airport and their people should also be recognized for actions taken by its employees who fed him and gave him toiletries. You know, as I said at the beginning of the show, God doesn't sleep. Now, normally we say things like that. We go, God doesn't sleep. We normally say that like it's a curse on somebody that, I don't know, raided the 911 fund or grabbed the gun or something like that. But in this case, God does not sleep, and I know that they didn't do it for a reward. You know, Guam is good. Guam is, I'm remembering, and bring Senator Bob Klitsky into this conversation. I remember it was a day, and I don't know, I was busy, I was distracted, and I was walking around GPO, and a $20 bill fell out of my pocket. And a lady picked it up and ran after me and said, "Excuse me, sir," and gave me my $20 back. And I thought, oh, that's how nice is that? And then I went to Applebee's to get something to eat, and I'm sitting at the counter, and sure enough, you know, it's I don't know, just the 20 fell out of my pocket again. And another lady came up to me and said, "Excuse me, sir, this fell out of your pocket," hands me the $20 back. Didn't have to. I wasn't watching. I wasn't paying attention. She could have just as easily picked up the 20 and stuck it in her pocket. So, like I said, Guam is good, and God doesn't sleep. 8:43 in the morning, Judge Bob Klitsky on the line with me, and we get a chance to finish up a conversation we started in the 6 o'clock hour about the folks over at the legislature and what feels to me a procedurally incorrect way to get these rules and regulations out. Good morning, Bob.
Yeah, hey, Ray, you know, Tima Michael, tall tales locally.
Tall Tales doesn't sleep either.
No, so when I read the story about the generosity of our home folks here, I was wondering if we weren't witnessing the beginning of the new economy round-trip flight to Manila.
One could only hope. One could only hope. Well, that's an interesting way to get more tourists here.
You buy a ticket to Manila and then one to Guam, and then put yourself at the mercy of the home folks on Guam. At the same time, you say, well, you know, I don't know how I got here.
And that's all you got to do is tell a little bit of that story. Are you suggesting that maybe there might be a little bit of underhandedness afoot?
Well, I have an overactive suspicion gland, Ray.
Well,
and often
that's why you and I are the perfect balance.
Okay.
That's why you and I are the perfect balance, because I'm okay with taking things at face value, but every once in a while I get a nod from even Michael Knight. Michael Knight's one of those guys. He's perfectly comfortable in tinfoil hat land. And conspiracy theory land, and so like I said, it every once it's like that. It's like the Notre Dame fire. Can I just riff in this for like 20 seconds? Notre Dame fire, as far as I'm concerned, that is the unknown and unspoken 911 against the Catholic faith.
I'm actually with Brother Bob on this one. There is no town in Idaho that sounds anything like Guam. He couldn't have even confused the airport codes. They don't have any airport codes that are similar.
That are similar. Yeah, so I don't know. Who knows what happened? But
and as per your analysis, Ray, folks at airline counters know how to ticket people to the appropriate destination. So if he pops up at the counter with a ticket or the e-ticket, whatever, for Los Angeles, they're not going to put him on a flight to Guam.
No. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I will suggest that mistakes are often made, and it being that's where the human element meets the automation and the technology. Mistakes can get made. I'll tell you the story about once upon a time where we took the children. It was going to be our big trip to Tokyo Disneyland, and we got on the airplane and we landed in Narita, and the lady at the counter looks at young Mason's passport, which was expired, and then there was a lot of Japanese breathing through the teeth and attempts to see if there was some kind of way that we could be paroled into the country just so we could go to Disneyland. At the end, it didn't work out, and the folks in the airline had to take us back and return us on the next flight out to Guam. That was the solution to the problem, and as you might imagine, we were a little bit upset about this. Went back to the counter and said, we still want to go to Disneyland. What are the chances you'll be able to give us a good deal to get forward traffic to the United States, where we don't have to worry about expired passports? And they fell over themselves trying to get all four of us onto the next available flight to California. And there were no additional charges or fees because they screwed up allowing us to go to Japan.
Yeah, well, the story that ran in the paper alleged a confrontation with the United agent, giving United the opportunity to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And suggesting that perhaps no one at the other end had not done the right thing. That the gentleman had a ticket for Guam, and they boarded him for Guam.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen all the documentation on it. Maybe there'll be some more coming to light now that it's a front page story.
Well, it's much more comforting to find the good element in any particular story, and there's certainly one there. We, as the home folks, look really good.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's seen as a spoiler to come along and say, hey, this thing just doesn't look right.
Yeah, you're like making a frowny face and being a downer there, Bob.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, my go see tall tales like.
8:48 and enough time here between now and the top of the hour to spend a little bit of time talking about what I consider to be a procedural misstep over at the legislature in their conversation on 101-35. Certainly loaded with drama apparently yesterday as the legislature was trying to grapple with the adoption of these rules and regulations, and then they started meddling with what had been provided to them from another law that would give the authority to the Mayor's Council of Guam and the mayors to be able to come up with the rules and regulations. So they came up, had public hearings, said, here's our rules and regulations. At that point, in my mind, it was adopt or don't adopt. But the legislature went in and made all kinds of amendments and adjustments to what they had been provided.
Exactly. And I heard your interview with Senator Jim Moylan this morning.
Yeah.
I have been pretty critical of this entire process since it began because the bill that Moylan introduced didn't resemble the one that finally was passed. It's not a textbook way of enacting legislation in the first place. Earlier this morning, I mentioned that the reason that the rulemaking mechanism is embodied in the law is that if the legislature delegates a little bit of its authority in accordance with some standards to an agency that works with the subject matter of the legislation. In theory, that agency has superior expertise to the legislature and can make, minor additions to the body of law that the legislature enacted. That isn't what Moylan did. He said, draft us a bill, is basically what he said. So if it's something important enough to go against, current law which prohibits gambling, it's important enough for the legislature to do its own drafting. Instead, what happened was that Moylan's bill passed, gave that authority to the Mayor's Council, and I can't think of a more inept group when it comes to promulgating rules.
Wait a second, hold on. Are you casting aspersions at their capabilities?
Absolutely. It took them 3 bites at the apple to even get something that, passed minimal muster.
Yes.
So then what happens is the Mayor's Council horses around with it and sends it to the legislature for proofreading, is what it amounted to. The legislature proofreads and then apparently enacts what should have been rules into statutory form, perhaps relegating them to the same black hole as the so-called rules for the Chamorro Land Trust Commission find themselves in, because those rules are not citing to Guam Code Annotated, and since they're not rules, they're not in the compiler's website of Guam Administrative Rules. So the same thing may have happened here, and if you have a copy of the bill as passed, Ray, if you wouldn't mind sending it to me, I will do a complete autopsy of that bill this afternoon. Having finished the autopsy, I will make my recommendations to the 2 governors, Leon Guerrero, as to whether that conglomeration should become law.
I don't know to what degree they have updated the website. I don't know. When I looked at it earlier, I didn't have the as-passed version of it, and it doesn't, under disposition, that first page that comes up, it just says it was introduced. It doesn't say anything about committee referral, public hearing dates, any of that stuff. So I think it's still first draft form, but I'll see who I can bug over at the legislature that's still talking to me to find out if I can get you a copy of the as-passed version of the rules and regulations, and I think that's important. I think there needs to be a recommendation back to the governor's office, one way or the other, about how this all got put together. And as I said, what feels like flaws. If you didn't like a portion of what the mayor's put together, you should not have adopted it. Period.
You should have disapproved it, and the mayors could take another crack at it. That's the way the process is supposed to work. So, I'd really appreciate it if we can track down the version, because I suspect both Governor Leon Guerrero are anxious to get my recommendation.
Of course. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Now, there's one other story where your name comes up as a source in the Guam Daily Post, and that is the story on the Consolidated Commission on Utilities denying the Freedom of Information request for the pay raise. Now the way I see that is it is, how do lawyers put it? The fruit of the poisonous tree is also poisonous, right?
That's correct, Ray. Good analysis.
So if there was an illegal, indefensible act that took place, anything that happened surrounding that act or as a result of that act gets no freedom of information protection whatsoever.
That's exactly the way I look at it. I went through the statute once again, and I didn't find that subheading that said minutes of illegal meetings. Legislative oversight, maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so somebody's got to get to their legal. I mean, because this is Consolidated Commission on Utilities. They've got legal guys, right?
Well, they had 2 of them in the illegal meeting last November. Each of whom got a substantial salary increase. Something else.
Do we know if Secretary Lou Sablon consulted with CCU Legal to determine whether or not she had to or did not have to act on the Freedom of Information request?
I don't think we know, and that's another interesting question, because if the request has been denied, who denied it? In most agencies, it's the director of the agency that has FOIA responsibility. So did John Benavente and or Miguel Bordallo deny Kevin's request? How exactly did that happen? That's the subject of another Freedom of Information Act request.
Well, if they made the request apparently through the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, so it was CCU Board Secretary Lou Sablon that denied the request. Are you suggesting that maybe that should have been the chairman, Joey Duenas, that did it?
Well, Joey, as the chairman, has, and as he recognized, has one duty that's different from other commissioners, and that is he chairs the meeting. Other than that, he doesn't have any more authority than anybody else. So if the CCU were going to deny the request, they would have to do it in a properly called and noticed meeting, a quorum being present, and not try this device that they tried on the surprise Thanksgiving holiday, where they, quote, polled the members, which again was a violation of the open government law.
This gets stickier and stickier. I thought that they'd recognize that they stepped in a puddle and just figure out how to get out of it, but it's like they just keep walking deeper and deeper into the puddle.
I gave Joey some free advice yesterday on Tall Tales, and that was let the public know that you're going to collect those raises back and do it just as fast as you did when you gave the raises. It took 22 seconds to give the raises. So this is not the time to start finessing things and saying, well, we've got to consult with counsel and we got to do this and we got to do that. I think what the ratepayers are looking for is for a responsible official to come out and say, we're going to collect that money back. Somebody like the Miguel Bordallo approach.
Right. Miguel just wanted to make it very clear on the record and out in public that he was going to return anything that was given to him. He did not wait for legal counsel. He did not wait for Consolidated Commission on Utilities to provide him with that instruction and that guidance. So very, very interesting to see what's going to happen and what's going to transpire. It's the one time sitting around going, wow, these guys have got a real black eye here with regard to this, and it just is not good for earning and maintaining the trust from the ratepayers.
Absolutely not. And there's one other issue I think that I'm going to have to look into and address at Tall Tales this afternoon, and that is this idea of evaluations. Is it appropriate to evaluate someone in an executive session? My initial instinct is no, because if you read the entire Freedom of Information Act, the constructional preference is that every turn of the road, openness and disclosure is preferred. So it's a kind of a case where a tie goes to the public. If it's a close call, you better turn it loose. Yes. And I am not familiar with the evaluation of employees exception to the open government laws. I'm going to take a look at that this afternoon also.
Okay. But you and I are on the same page there. In case of a tie, the radio station has to win. In case of a tie, the ratepayer has to win.
Exactly.
Judge Bob Klitsky this afternoon, 4 o'clock on Tall Tales, right here on KUSG. I got you. I'll talk to you pretty soon, my friend.
Okay, Ray.
All right, buddy. 888-8255. Weird kind of echo going on. Hope that wasn't too much of a bother listening to that. We don't normally get that kind of thing. But, in a world where everything is digital and I got signals going out and they're meshing with Bluetooth signals coming in and out on his side, frankly, the fact that we can all talk to each other still kind of amazes me.
Well, Senator Bob was able to give his opinion twice.
Yes.
In effect. So hopefully people will listen.
Yeah. So, and if you want to, go back and do the audio or video on demand here on the program, and you should be able to hear his the first conversation that we had, not necessarily on the CCU thing, but we did talk about the conversation at the legislature yesterday, where they were talking about the carnival rules and regulations.
Did you ask him about fried chicken skin? Oh, you did.
All right, today's the day that we revel in the news that chicken skin is good for you. Stop taking it off the chicken. Stop buying skinless chicken. It's not that much fat, and who knows, you take the skin off and then you put all kinds of dressings and seasonings on it, basically to replace the flavor that you took off at the store. So leave the chicken skin on there, and I'll give you the chapter and verse on that, along with a couple of other things in the next hour of the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. Sorry, I got a lot of snot in my nose. I'm going to get up and blow my nose. It won't sound any different after the newscast, but it'll make me feel a whole lot better. We're KUSG, Haggadah. It's time for Snot News Live. Fox, whatever.
He'll skip it. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Attorney General William Barr will not appear tomorrow before the House Judiciary Committee.
Justice Department officials warned reporters earlier this week that questions from committee staff lawyers were a non-starter, and the Attorney General could not agree to those terms on the basis that he's Senate approved and a cabinet secretary, so they said it was appropriate for him to take questions from lawmakers, not staffers.
Fox's Catherine Herridge in Washington. Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler says Barr is terrified of having to face a skilled attorney.
We may issue a subpoena, but our first priority is to get the unredacted Mueller report. And by the way, we're looking to get Mueller before the committee on May 15th, which is another priority.
President Trump reacting.
Well, I guess they want to treat him differently than they have anybody else. And for many, many years, they've never done it this way, where they're bringing in outside counsel or something. And that's not the way, you elect people, they're supposed to be able to do their own talking.
President speaking on Trish Regan Primetime on the Fox Business Network. The president going on to praise Barr for today's testimony. Barr and Senate Democrats had some heated exchanges. Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut asked Barr about the letter Mueller sent to him, expressing concerns about his portrayal of the Russia investigation.
The letter's a bit snitty, and I think it was probably written by one of his staff people. Did you make a memorandum of your conversation? Huh? Did you make a memorandum? No, I didn't. Or did anyone else? What? Did anyone, either you or anyone on your staff, memorialize your conversation with Robert Mueller? Yes.
Blumenthal asked to see the letter. Mueller Barr refused. Nearly 30 people hurt in clashes in Caracas, Venezuela today as tensions rose between disputed President Nicolas Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido. This is Fox News.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
New information about the death of a Florida teenager who authorities say was obsessed with the 1999 shooting at Columbine High School. The Clear Creek County coroner says 18-year-old Sol Pais likely died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound on April 15th before authorities learned she traveled to Colorado from Miami. And the day authorities say she arrived in Denver and purchased a gun and ammunition. Columbine and other schools tightened security that afternoon and closed April 17th. Florida lawmakers pass a bill today in the wake of the deadly Parkland school shooting last year, allowing more teachers to be armed.
The Florida House, a majority of whom are Republicans, passed the bill, which now goes to the desk of Governor Ron DeSantis, who is expected to sign it. The bill expands a Guardian program already in existence that allows teachers to volunteer to be armed as a last line of defense when a police officer is not present. Many Democrats in the legislature opposed the measure, as did teachers' unions and several of the state's larger school boards, who say confronting school shooters should be left to law enforcement. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Former Vice President Joe Biden on the campaign trail in Iowa today, taking a jab at President Trump.
I understand the president been tweeting a lot about me this morning and for a while. I wonder why the hell he's doing that.
Biden, one of 20 Democrats in the field. Favorite Omaha Beach scratched from the Kentucky Derby because of a breathing problem. A California couple pleading guilty for taking part in the college admissions scheme. Bruce and Davina Isaacson pled guilty in a federal court in Boston. They're the first parents in the case to plead guilty and have agreed to cooperate with investigators and testify against others if asked. They're accused of paying $600,000 to get their daughters into USC and UCLA. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Dun, 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 dun. 5 after 9 o'clock in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by American President Lines, where they're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar. And, of course, my friends over at King's Restaurant. They're your friends, too. They know how you like it. And so they put together the King's Crazy 19 menu, as in 2019. So if you haven't yet had an opportunity to try some of this stuff, swing by today and tell them that Ray Gibson was talking about them being kaduku in the kitchen and find out how good the food is there.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Other portions of the Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for your specialty care needs. Joey, Jan, and Dunge over at Cars Plus in Mighty, where they are driven by you. And my guys over at Wendy's with a spectacular lineup of fantastic food. We got the spaghetti over there. We got fried rice if you want to get some of that for breakfast. Ooh, fried chicken with the white gravy and the eggs. Been a while since I've had that.
And they leave the skin on their chicken.
That's nice. And we'll talk about skinny chickens, too, in just a second. Swing by Wendy's for all of that goodness.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Where are we now? Where's it going to be? Where's the fun? Somebody talking about me looking cleaned up and looking good on the book face this morning. All right, well, that's nice. Hi, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is the Ray Gibson Show. Last hour of the program today, and I'm going to try to make it all the way until 10 o'clock if I'm very, very lucky. The Dayquil that I took is not going to wear off, and because when it did that yesterday. Oh, just a quivering mess of Ray. Yeah, you know how that is when you've got just enough medication in you that you can go and you can get what you need to get done, and it takes everything that you've got to get home, stagger into the door, and then plop on the couch. That's where I was yesterday. And I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just giving you the cold reality of it. So if there's any part of the conversation that you are going to hear in the next hour that sounds disjointed, distracted. Well, wait a second. That's like every day, isn't it? That never mind just being sick, but I mean that's like every day's program. I don't know. He started talking about one thing, and then he left. Then it was about crime and marijuana.
See, they would have never known, Ray.
I know it. But anyway, so today my excuse is I'm hopped up on Dayquil. It would be interesting though, because all the conversations always come back to marijuana and CBD. Do I have any witch doctors out there that are suggesting maybe there is some kind of edible, a chewable, drinkable that's got CBD in it that is going to relieve me of these cold symptoms? Go.
Yeah, CBD would help with the pain. That's about it, though. There are no other healthful benefits as far as getting away, getting the
sniffles
the
gone?
sniffles, the congestion, the postnasal drip, all that. Yeah, that doesn't really help.
Oh,
with that.
God,
But
that's
he
the
won't-
worst. Can I just say that's the most miserable part of this
It
is
yeah.
that postnasal drip? Because if you're watching me on the program tonight, I've got what it's just cocktail napkins, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like sandpaper. Because I've been
Oh, yeah.
cocktail napkining in the last couple of days in exactly the same spots where the mustache ends and the nose begins, and it's making me nuts.
Worst thing I hate is when you get that postnasal drip and the drip gets on your nose, but you don't have a napkin anywhere nearby, so you got to go and try to find a napkin. In the meantime, it's just there and it's itching and that drive you nuts.
Life sucks, except when life doesn't suck. Let's ponder this here for a moment. I started the program, and I consider this the most important news for those of you that tuned in, that are tuning in late. I've already been over this morning because I wanted to start the day off with good, important news. Because if you take a look at the headlines in the newspapers and in the newscast, there's just a bunch of crap that is out there. That we, it's I don't know. It feels like we're getting used to something around here with multiple CSCs, this criminal sexual conduct, and the break-ins, and judges letting people back out in the street. And all this crime that cops are trying to stay in front of, and so we've got all of this other crap that's floating around. And I wanted to give you something where you could say, at least I have this, right? If all of the stories, all of the other stories that are out there, at least I've got this story here that will make me feel good. I remember when they started saying it back in the 1980s, and they said chicken skin. You might as well be eating a pound of butter because it's all fat and it's not good for you, and you're going to die. And then everywhere I went after that, people with their best intentions would serve me some kind of thing with chicken on it that didn't have any skin.
That was at about the time they were trying to demonize everything chicken because eggs weren't any good for you either.
Demonize chicken. There must have been some other industry that started looking for stuff to talk, for smack to talk about. Yeah, the cows, right? Like the Chick-fil-A, the cows eat more chicken. So see, there was that. And remember when they were telling you that if you drank milk, milk was bad for you?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
And how can you go? Wow, how can that be? Anyway, so they came out and they said, stop eating chicken skin because it'll give you a heart attack in your 40s and you'll die. And so everybody, not everybody, I take things in news and advice like that in moderation. But I found a story. Healthy Holistic Living is the name of the magazine, and this is what they put. This is the picture of their headline. I'm playing it on Facebook Live, and that's a nice looking roast bird, almost as good looking as the ones that you will get at Cost You Less, or pay less. And from the perspective of a guy that likes roasting chicken but doesn't actually like roasting chickens, there is nothing wrong with going to Cost You Less and getting a bird from there. There's nothing wrong with going to Pay Less and getting a bird from there.
Dude, it's an out-of-body experience when you walk over to the water machine to fill up your water bottle at the Pay Less, and the little roasting chickens are right next to you, and you're like...
I defy you to risk now. The reason why you want to do that is, number one, because you don't have to cook it. Still reasonably priced per pound. The per pound on the roast chicken is about not that far off the per pound on a raw chicken. So yeah, and somebody else got to cook it for you, and their seasonings are about the same thing that I would put on it. So this is what I like to do. I'll get the chicken. And I'll take it home, and I'll eat the drumstick, and I'll have the wing, a little bit of the breast, and then I will take it apart. I'll dissect the bird, and put that in a skillet with a little bit of mayonnaise, or not mayonnaise, a little bit of onions and some garlic in there, and then cook it that way, and then put it in with some Japanese mayonnaise and some regular Hellmann's mayonnaise. Toast up some bread, and then have a chicken salad sandwich after that.
That's delightful.
Right. And so it starts with that. But every once in a while, I might get a little bit of skin in that chicken salad sandwich. And now it's good to know there's nothing wrong with it. They've taken it apart and said, you know what? If you're worried about the calories, then eat less of something, but don't blame the chicken skin, because if the chicken, you take a roasted drumstick without the skin, about 175 calories. Roasted drumstick with the skin, about 200 calories. Right? So you think about it. I mean, what's 25 calories? You're going to wash that down with a Coke, right? There you go. There's your 200 calories right there. Another upside is to keep in the chicken skin where it belongs, is the fat in the chicken skin adds flavor to your dish that would otherwise need to be replaced with salt or butter. Leaving the skin on is often the healthier option. It can also make the cooking process much quicker and easier. So if you were looking for good news today, if you were looking for something that just put a smile on your face, there it is. Don't remove the chicken skin. It might actually be good for you. And if I'll copy the link here. So that you can play around with it at your leisure on Facebook Live. 888-825-888-TALK is my telephone number around here. Can I do that? Hold on a second. I've managed to accidentally lose my feed here. So I'll go. I found it, and let me do this. Jeopardy bed, please. Thank you. Read my mind. There we go. All right, so the link is there. Who's playing around online? Pam Duvall and Eunice Mendiola, a bunch of other people watching the program online now. Nick Pulaski and Big Sister Shelley and Sherry Iriarte. Hey, off a day to you, Sherry. Nice to see you online this morning. Something you wanted to talk about or something that you want me to talk about? I do take requests. Yeah, how many years, Man and Boy, in music radio? Like 25 years in music radio, and I always love it. And I like taking requests from people. They'd call up, hey, can you play Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, or you got that new one from Debbie Gibson? And yeah. I'm happy to get that on the air for you. And I'm still happy to do the same thing. So if there are topics that are out there that you think are not getting enough attention, I'd be more than happy to riff on some of those things at will.
Yeah, I have a request that I'm going to fulfilled from James and Pam.
Which is? The meeting of the Ray Gibson Cannabis Control Board has now come to order. But I don't have any cool marijuana stories today. I feel bad. There was something that I was calling up. There it is on Facebook. Las Vegas City Council votes to approve marijuana lounges. 4-1 vote. That they've got there. Hold on, now it's nagging me to subscribe to something and I don't want to. It will allow the city to create a business license category and regulations for marijuana lounges within the city limits. The lounges would be a place where people could use marijuana products. Under the bill, for the first year, only established dispensaries could get a license for a marijuana lounge. Dispensary owners showed up at the meeting to support the effort. Mayor Carolyn Goodman abstained from the vote, saying her family has some interest in the marijuana business, so wanted to make sure that there was no conflict of interest. She backed out on it. But this is exactly what I have been talking about since the conversation about recreational marijuana has come up. And I would like the government, as this Cannabis Control Board comes together, I would like them to pursue opportunities for these marijuana boutiques, these marijuana lounges. You know, right now the law says, and it's very specific, I have it in front of me, there's consuming cannabis openly and in public is prohibited and punishable by a fine of up to $100. But that can change. Mm-hmm. We are capable of changing that and saying, okay, in your house, you can smoke in the house. Right. We don't want you smoking at EPAL Beach. We don't want you smoking at the governor's office. We don't want you smoking at the legislature, libraries, bus stops, etc. But if you go to what was the name of our lounge? We were going to name one. We had a name.
Yeah, that was a while back. I'm like you. I get too many things in my input, and it's like you got to move something out of the way.
Okay, so
it's Brews and Buds or something like that.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you could get a cold beer and sit down and smoke a joint or smoke a bowl with a friend. We're going to keep an eye on you and make sure that you're not going to, if you need a tipsy taxi, we'll figure out a way to do it, Korea taxi or stroll or whatever, and find a way to make sure that you get home. And maybe it will be one of those things where if you come in, you put your key here. You leave your key with the security guard, and we will determine whether or not you are capable of hitting the roadways or whether you need to get home by other means. But it would be nice, and then we encourage it by having what I've referred to as the green zone. So this area, which heretofore was strip joints and massage parlors. Now I'm not talking about Tumon, I'm talking about Anigua, right? From about where KFC is all the way down to the governor's office. And that would be Ray Gibson's Marijuana Green Zone. And if you wanted to open up a marijuana lounge under that kind of license, we'd let you. We'd let you open up a marijuana lounge. In fact, we would encourage it by offering you an opportunity to get a break on your taxes. You want to open a business there, even that's not a marijuana lounge, because you're in my zone. If you were there, even on an allied basis, yeah, I sell sweet snacks, I sell crunchy snacks, I sell. Who was I talking to? The guy that's in charge of Piggy Snacks here, the Laton. Right, I was talking to him recently. I said, you need to start doing the research now on flavors of your Piggy Snacks that that people that just smoke marijuana will die for. They'll become like weed zombies. I have to have that. What do you suppose it is? What do you think it might be? 888-8255, 888-TALK. Richard Leon's on, Greg Karabrock's on there. The Chupa Hut. Ah, very nice. Pam Duvall, very, very creative, and that can be your place. Pam Duvall says, I'll make sure to put a little crispy chicken in your birthday Kellywood. Nice crispy chicken sliver goodness. It's good. And Joe Cruz says, yeah, coffee shops, but not really coffee. No, there's nothing wrong with being wide awake stoned.
No. But when you're in the zone there, open up a shop that serves fried chicken skin and have I don't know, about 500 dipping sauces or something. I don't know.
So
very good.
Yeah, so you know what you'd need to have along with that, because now we're just running and gunning on the brainstorming, right? Yeah. We need to have like I don't want to call it. We need those tube apartments, right? Like they have in Japan.
Yeah.
So if we know that you're too high, or you just want someplace to just lay back and enjoy the buzz. Right, for $50,
yeah,
you can have this tube lounge, right? You can go into it. You got Wi-Fi, got a little TV set in there, something like that.
Yeah, set up a room and call it the napping room.
And then we'd have what Bob Klitzky is referring to as odor removal devices. Don't ask me how it's going to work. I don't know. Ray, I guess they didn't release all the tax refunds for Jan 28th because I didn't receive one. LOL. Sorry about that, Rudy. And at least Troy Torres online the other day suggesting that they lied. The governor's office and the press people lied to you because they said we got the 2018 refunds that are going out, and as it turns out, it doesn't look like quite as many of them. Maybe from January 28th and up. Maybe some more of these 2017 returns and just a sprinkling of 2018 returns from January 28th, which incidentally is the first date that Reverend Tax was even accepting 2018 returns. So I don't know about lying. It might be just a misstatement, but again, there's people out there that I might look at and say, yeah, well, try harder next time. Other people go out and say they lied on you about your tax refund money. 921, my friend Carl's online. Hey, Carl.
Hey, good morning, Ray.
What's up?
Hey, I just was listening to your conversation about marijuana, and I just wanted to share a conversation I had with a friend of mine not that long ago, and the topic of the conversation wandered onto marijuana, and I was pretty sure that he occasionally toked a little, but I really learned some pretty amazing things. One of the things that he passed on to me was that he was against legalization of marijuana, which was really kind of mind-blowing to me.
Considering you think he was a smoker.
Yeah, I would pretty much have bet 100% that he would have been for it. And the reason why is because he's run a very successful small business for over 10 years. It's a highly creative business. It takes a lot of intense concentration. But, he had tried to look into the possibility of branching off or going into, something dealing with this new marijuana industry.
Yeah.
And once he added up all the paperwork costs and all the equipment costs and everything, it came to close to $1 million. And his impression was that it was kind of cynical. He was thinking it was structured the way it was in order to monopolize the market in some way.
I have similar suspicions, my friend. I have similar suspicions that if we are not careful, I know some of the people that are on the Cannabis Control Board, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you that there's anybody on that board that I don't trust or that I mistrust. You know, there's some of them I know, and they're good people. I think their intentions are in the right place. They really do want to work on putting something that is going to be good for Guam. Now, is it possible that they might be influenced by others, deep pockets in our community that would have them set up rules, regulations, and guidelines for recreational marijuana, for which only people with significant access to significant capital could capitalize on?
Yeah, personally, I mean, I don't toke. I never have. But if I did, I would not touch homegrown stuff, because I know there's different grades of marijuana. Some of it's pretty powerful. And if I'm going to take something into my body, I want to know exactly, I want to look at the package and say, this is, the Wowie from Maui or whatever, this is strong stuff or weak stuff or whatever. I want to know what I'm putting into my body. So I just wouldn't touch it personally. But another couple of things I learned from him, really eye-opening, is that he told me he does not smoke marijuana, which really blew my mind. He said what he does in order to unwind at the end of a long day, and de-stress and go to sleep, is I believe he said he heats up the CBD oil and he inhales the vapors. Which he said gives him pretty much the same effect, but without damage to his lung lining. And when you smoke marijuana, just like tobacco, you're inhaling combustion byproducts that are going to damage the lining of your lungs. So he doesn't touch that. And he said another problem with smoking it, especially in the house, is that it tends to go into all the fabrics, into your clothing, into the furniture, and pretty soon your house starts, if someone smokes tobacco a lot in the house, the house smells like tobacco. So he does not like that. So he does not.
So he doesn't take his CBD. He doesn't inhale it. He doesn't smoke it like everybody else does. I mean, that's maybe that's one of the cool magical things about all of this stuff that we're talking about, is there's so many different ways that you can ingest it. You put it in a tea and drink it that way if you like. You can mix it in with your spaghetti and your Scooby Snacks recipe if you want to. But
I was intrigued with his story, because he is a very, very creative, his work requires intense concentration. So I was just interested in how he...
Well, whose work doesn't require some kind of intent? Okay, besides mine. Whose work doesn't entail that kind of thing? I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and it's in my mind. I'm going, well, it's a tomato. Some people are going to want to do it that way, and some aren't. The idea that we don't know what's in this batch of marijuana has got people scared. Oh my God, is there human feces in there? They put DDT. Am I going to inhale something and all of a sudden get cancer overnight? I don't know. It's how much do you know about the soda that you drank yesterday? How much do you know about the way the food was prepared in the restaurant that you ate in this morning? There's always going to be question marks unless you do it yourself.
Yeah, I'll pass along one final thing that he shared with me, which I also found very interesting, is that he experimented with edibles, and he does not use edibles, and he said one reason is because the next day he needs to have his mind clear for his work, which takes a great amount of concentration and creativity. And he said edibles tend to stay in the system too long, and he noticed it kind of fogged up his thinking ability.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought I'd pass those things along. Like I said, he's run a very successful small business for 10 years. He's very meticulous. He's not like your typical, pothead, kind of in a fog. I mean, the guy is very.
I don't know what a typical pothead looks like anymore. I knew what it was when you and I were growing up in the 70s. There was those guys that hung out by the store, and they got the long hair and the hang ten shirt and the jeans with the rolled up bottom and the huh?
Cheech and Chong.
Yeah. But you think about it now, and I know somebody that's listening to the broadcast right now is, middle-aged grandmother, that smokes because she can, basically, and she's got these things and anxieties or stresses or whatever, and some physical issues for which marijuana seems to provide some relief for. So I don't know if there's so much anymore a typical way that you can look at it, and I think as we get past this a little bit more, as we build more time in from when it was, I keep calling it deregulated, but from that moment until, in the by and by, I think we're going to start seeing more atypical users of marijuana and marijuana products.
Yeah, I'm just passing this along for anyone that might be listening that might want to, they might have anxiety issues, stress issues, depression or whatever. Yeah. And they might want to experiment, and they might not necessarily want to smoke, but they might want to use some of the products to see the effect it has. And I think maybe they can talk to people that are involved in this and find out how they can heat the CBD oil, inhale the vapors, and get some of those effects to help deal with their symptoms.
Yeah, that's going to be a show. We're going to do a whole TV series on that. And somebody, I'm only halfway talking with my foot in my mouth here. I think there are going to be times where you're going to get guys, because it used to be once upon a time if you wanted to do a television show, you needed an actual television channel and all kinds of video equipment and mixing gear and host microphones and lights and all of that stuff. Anymore, all you need is a camera. And everybody has a camera in their phone, and you could put together a 5-minute piece on exactly what you're talking about. Hey, you don't want to do the CBD this way? Well, here's another way to do CBD, and we'll take pictures of it, and we'll produce it, stick it up on YouTube, and before you know it, you got your hometown, homegrown, literally heroes telling other people how to do it.
Very true. It's a great time to be alive.
It is an interesting time, and to a point that you brought up, we were talking about. I don't smoke homegrown because I don't know what's in it. I don't know how strong it's going to be. It wasn't that long ago that you'll recall romaine lettuce was pulled off the shelves.
Yeah, very true.
E. coli, and there's a regulated industry. That agriculture business, regulated industry, and they're supposed to know everything that goes into and up and around all of that stuff, but a whole bunch of it managed to make it to the grocery stores.
Yeah, the thing with brands, though, that are made by reputable companies is they have their reputation on the line, and that means money. If they mess up and they send out some bad batches, people hear about it, and it's going to hit the bottom line, and that terrifies these people. So they're pretty meticulous usually, and if they're not, and they fail to do that, then they pay the price.
Yeah. Well, guard your brand. Old rule: guard the brand.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to chime in. I sure appreciate it.
I like hearing from you, Carl. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, thank you.
All right, it's 31 after. Bottom of the hour, as we say in the radio biz, and we'll call that iConnect time. Some people need a phone so they can take and receive telephone calls. You might want to do a little bit of Facebook and WhatsApp diving, but if you don't need incredible bandwidth, then why pay for it? And that's the idea behind some of the plans they've got at iConnect. Learn more by calling 888-8888.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Miles sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
Richard Leon says, point is this, met a Hawaiian grower and seller. There are many marijuana strains, potencies, established reputations. So, yes, GovGuam doesn't have the resources. Black market is going to be free and grows. That's the horns of a debate that people are in the middle of right now about whether or not there's going to be a healthy, quote, lounge market or healthy retail taxable market for recreational marijuana. Because why would you? Why would you do that? You can get a bunch of seeds, stick them in some dirt, and grow it inside your house where the man can't see it and where your neighbors can't see it, and where the burglars hopefully don't find your stash. So everybody says, well, why would I go and buy that stuff? Let me underscore it in a couple of different ways. Will Parkinson and I were talking about yesterday. One of them is not everybody wants to grow marijuana. Not everybody has the time, the drive, the willingness, the intelligence to be able to put together some of these systems where you can grow marijuana. So for me, it might be easier. I might pay extra and go check out the boutique where they're selling it, or the dispensary, and pay dispensary prices. I mean, you could probably brew your own tequila. You could probably brew your own rum. You could probably make your own moonshine here if you want to. Get involved in the time, trouble, and expense of doing it. Or you can go to 76 Circle K, where they have rums and vodkas and tequilas and scotches and all of that. Somebody's already figured out how to do it. My dad, I used to make this sweet chili sauce when I had Lumpy at the house, and I'd make it. I'd be at the stove, and I'd say, "Is the ketchup there?" And I got the chili flakes, and I've got the powder. It's the stuff, your thickener that you put in it. Anyway, and the ketchup, I put all this stuff together, and I'd make my own sweet chili sauce for our lumpia. And I remember my father one day saying, you can buy that in a bottle at the store. I said, but I want to make it. He says, you can buy that in a bottle at the. Why would you go through all of that trouble? It tastes the same. Is there something I'm doing different? Incidentally, that was the last time I ever made sweet chili sauce, because you can buy it in a bottle at the store, and there's some really, really good ones. So it comes down to that, maybe, is you might be able to grow a whole bunch of this stuff in your house, but is it going to be any better or worse than what you can go out and buy in the stores and the dispensaries? And the other part of it is, as I've mentioned a couple of times, I know you hate it when I do that. It feels like a rerun, doesn't it? But it's just, in my mind, it's just going to work out this way. There are guys that are very, very creative around here that know how to grow things, that know how to take the best of this one and combine it with the best of that one, and then pretty soon you've got a whole new varietal, right? You've got a whole new thing. So maybe we want something that has some of the calming effects, some of the pain-relieving effects, or the appetite-enhancing effects of one kind of marijuana, but we don't want that super, super high feeling. So is there a way that you can create something? Or do you want something that's more of a room spinning high? Or do you want one that's, kind of a sunset high? Do we want one that you smoke a couple of puffs when you have your morning coffee, just a way to get your day started? Somebody will come up with that thing. It's like coffee. You know how many different kinds of flavors and blends of coffee there are that do different things? Exactly. So, you don't have to open up a coffee plantation. You just wait until somebody else has done the work, and you go and you pay whatever he charges for this special kind of craft deal. Joe Cruz saying, you sound like a cannabis breeder, Ray. Nope, farthest thing from it, bud. Absolutely the farthest thing from that you can imagine. I'd like to entertain it, but I'm thinking about the bandwidth that I have available to me. Here's what I can remember to do on a regular basis. Take a shower, make sure there's beer in the fridge, and make sure the dog is fed. The dog that doesn't like me, that we always talk about.
The dog is probably really happy that you feed it.
Every day. Sometimes twice a day.
There you go.
Right? So, that's my adult. Oh, speaking, that's called adulting, by the way, these days. There's a name for it. You and I, back in the old days, we called it responsibilities. But the kids now, the millennials, call it adulting. And there is, it's true, because I saw it on the internet, there's a thing called an adulting calendar. Did you pay bills? Did you show up to work on time? Schedule a doctor's appointment? Did you get a sticker for that? You can now, because for $15.99, there's a 16-month calendar/sticker book. Along with charting the passage of time, the product comes with an advertised 100 splashy stickers that celebrate daily accomplishments, such as, I emptied the litter box. Adulting. I cooked for myself. Adulting. My parents don't pay my rent. Adulting. So it's ways for you to be able to commemorate your movement into the world of adulthood.
Yeah. This is all possible because we decided to give trophies to everyone.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Everyone's a winner. No, that's a communist plot. That's what that is. Right. There is not equal outcome, but there is equal opportunity, which is the tenet of my actual faith. There is not equal outcome guaranteed by anything, and frankly, if I get into a competition where the chances of the reward for my exertion, the reward for my intelligence, my training, whatever, is going to be exactly the same as everybody else's. No, ain't gonna do it.
Why bother?
Ain't gonna do it. So I've got the wall of trophies, not trophies, but ribbons and things like that from races, and my I've got ones where it shows first, second, third place. Each little hook has first, second, and third place, and there are a couple off to the side that you get a medal for finishing. And so for me, that's kind of like, I'm glad to get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to get it. Thank you very much. I mean, you pay $60 for a race. You want something that you can wear on the way home. So I'm glad for those things. But for me, they don't have as much value as the ones where I really had to hustle so that I could place first, second, or third in a race.
Right. Yeah. Like you had to actually catch up to someone to win that medal.
I had to beat somebody in order to get that. Is my point. There's a couple of other things that I think are of I don't know, limited interest. No, it's a new month. I mentioned this yesterday. Oh, God. See, I'm so busy thinking about stuff that's going on in my life. Did they pick up your trash today? It's Thursday. What's your trash day?
I don't think they came today. Yeah, yesterday they came.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So Wednesday is your day?
Yeah.
All right. Because it's like that now anymore?
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm with the apartments, so... Yeah, it's just whenever the guy
so you heard them, though, right? You heard the guy? Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. So the reason, it's a new month, and as of yesterday, close of business, no longer receivership in charge of our solid waste. Now it is the Guam Solid Waste Authority. That's it. We're getting funky. I see those guys in the big GSWA truck. You seen it, too. You remember a couple of years ago when they first took it over, it was a really, really nice, shiny, like 40-foot container on a flatbed making its way down to the Luzon landfill. And it was shiny, and it was chromy, and it was new, and now it looks like crap. We don't wash that. Costs too much. We're not going to wash it. But you got those guys. You see them just up and down the road. And then once they get down by Pirates Cove, they meet up with the guy from G4S, right, who's got to escort them through the very narrow streets that we swore up and down originally that we were going to make bigger so that there weren't quite as many blind spots for those big rigs to be going through. But yeah, so it's a new month. And as you know, with all the different proclamation signings and things like that have been taking place over at the governor's office, there's all kinds of stuff that we are going to be proclamating for and acknowledging. What is it, Senior Citizens Month? Yeah. Public Health and Social Services Division of Senior Citizens and its community partners are coordinating events in honor of our island's Manumco. And this may come as a shock to some of you younger people that are listening and watching the program. I am among some of our island's honored Manumco. I'm over 55 years of age, and so I'm eligible for all kinds of discounts and perks that you get from going around the sun 55 times, which is kind of like the extra trophy prize that we were talking about just a second ago. Equal outcome. Never mind, because I've done something big. Everybody gets that break over at the place. So yesterday they had the proclamation signing in the governor's large conference room, and they're working on centennial recognition events, a coordination of a frail elderly mass at the Inarajan Senior Center, legislative reception coming up on May the 21st. Thursday, the 16th, they're looking at the Guam Conference on Aging, and Wednesday, the 22nd, the Wegun Manumco or senior games are going to be taking place at the University of Guam Fieldhouse. So how about that for showing off our? See, now that would be fun to get into the senior games. Again, I'm a senior, 55 years of age. Yeah, I can hardly wait to go out there and run up against somebody like in their 80s and 90s.
Senior
I'll kick their butt in a 5K.
Yeah, I think of horseshoes and shuffleboard.
Cornhole. How did it get that name?
What the heck is that?
You don't know what cornhole is?
No idea. Sorry.
It's Ken.
Yes.
Cornhole. You know about the game, right?
Nope.
Good Lord. It's going to take me a second. So while Ken is talking, I'm going to see if I can scare up some video on the onlines of some kind of cornhole that you ought to be able to learn how to play. We're doing it at Cinco de Mayo over at Jimmy D's. There's going to be all kinds of events, and there's going to be an actual cornhole tournament. And so we've been talking about it lately. But you don't know what it is, huh?
No, I don't.
All right.
Just waiting for the proclamation. I mean, the news story in the Post in the next coming month or so about the secret executive session that's going to take place at Solid Waste now that they have $1 million a year that they're not paying the receiver, and since the management is going to pick up the work of the receivers, they need to take that money that they were paying the receiver and award raises and bonuses for the solid waste staff because now their workload has increased.
Yeah.
It's to be recognized, and how do we expect some poor guy to live on $160,000 a year? That's just very unreasonable of us.
Well, how dare we? How dare we? That's interesting. And we'll see what happens. Now, remember, though, everything is going to have to be blessed by the Public Utilities Commission. So at least a little bit of a line. What, on the salaries and things like that? Yeah, I guess you're right. It would be the board doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, the board. That's what happened over at Power and Water. The CUC blessed that. And we saw the same thing happen at Guam Regional Mass Transit, where the board decided that the managers needed to get a $20,000 pay raise back in, I think, 2012, 2014.
Yeah, because our mass transit system is so great.
Yeah, they were doing such a great job. We needed to raise them from, I think it was like $65,000 to $87,000 a year. So right now, the pickings are good. The bank accounts still have money in them. The federal receiver taking over Guam like they took over Puerto Rico hasn't been put in place yet. But I predict it's just going to be a matter of time. At the rate we keep adding expenses and cutting revenues simultaneously.
But you know what? The good news here, Ken, because you always try to find a silver lining in our conversations. The good news is everybody is going to be either drunk or stoned. Right? I mean, no. It's the whole Bill Murray thing. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And thank God they've paved the way for us to be resigned to our fate, like the lambs to the slaughter, and just we'll all be desensitized and high. And as long as I get the marijuana coming in, $45, $50, $100 a month for trash services. I guess that's all right.
Yeah, it's going to be. Remember that famous Cheech and Chong piece, Dave's not home. That's what it's going to be like.
Yeah, and I don't know. The funny thing is now to hear you say it, all of a sudden it sounds like it's got a ring of truth to it. Like, wait a second, yeah, we wanted the GSWA, we wanted solid waste to be under Guam control, but the things that are under Guam control, we can't seem to get a handle on controlling them. Open government laws and the rules of engagement for evaluations and then evaluations and actual handing out of raises doesn't seem to be something that we have a whole lot of control over here. So it's possible. You're right. With 6 months, a year. When they say, well, we've taken it over and we didn't break anything up too bad, so we're going to give ourselves a raise.
Well, let's look at the first 90 days of the administration. We've got legislation giving back pay and pay raises to people at BBMR. We've raised salaries on a number of special administrators because they weren't making enough money, and if we didn't pay them more, they might go and find other jobs.
Of course, yeah, but of course we could do that because they raised the rates.
Yeah.
So as long as the taxes have gone up so that we can afford these increases, what's wrong with it?
Well, the problem is they keep raising the operating expenses faster than the taxes. So at some point in time, and I'm predicting probably towards the end of the year, we're going to start seeing conversations taking place that we need to do the Tran loan after all. We need to borrow. Government of Guam needs a payday loan. We need to borrow $225 million. And we need to use that $225 million to pay all the operating expenses we couldn't pay because we were too busy giving our management team pay raises to pay the expenses for the agencies they run and operate.
You've repeated yourself a couple of times. I will too. It's we vote for different people. We voted a whole different slate of candidates and individuals in the government and the legislature, and it doesn't make any difference because the government keeps sneaking back in. The deep state exists here, just like the kind that Donald Trump is fighting in the States.
Yeah, well, it's going to keep on happening until we stand up for ourselves, and that's the problem.
Yeah, well, short of elections and armed revolution, I don't know how to do that.
Well, we got another election coming up. Let's see if we learn from our mistakes this time or if we're doomed to keep repeating them.
Well, that's why God made talk radio. We'll keep the conversation going for you, Ken.
Thank you very much.
All right, my friend. Have a terrific morning. 888-8255 is the telephone number around here. In 10 minutes, this program will end. This is not something to be applauded, by the way. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, this is a video of a guy that is apparently showing what looks like technique that is
it's
required.
Advanced techniques in cornholing.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I've actually seen this game played, did not know it was called that.
Yeah, it's cornhole.
See, where I come from in Texas, cornhole had a completely different meaning.
Uh-huh. Yes. I think I know what you're saying.
So when you said it, I was
play
a little
that,
shocked.
the last
As a
couple
matter of fact, we had a caller. He was a little disdained about the use of the word cornhole until I explained to him it's actually a game.
What?
And I'm watching it. Yeah. They don't always know.
Well, a snowflake called up and got mad because I said cornhole on the radio.
I'm just saying. But anyway, now that I see this, I could play this game.
Sure. But could you play it drunk? Could you play it stoned? I'm not even sure if I could play it straight, personally. Another thing you call it was, did you call me a snowflake? They're just words. They're just words. And I don't know what it is. Everybody all of a sudden taking words and saying, I need to be offended by something today. I think I'm going to be offended by the guy saying cornhole. Also the guy that referred to people that give you something and take it away as Indian givers. And somebody called up and they were ticked off about that. Sorry, just the way I grew up. What can I say? I'm just a kid from the village with an interesting job, just unskilled and uncivilized. At 9:51 in the morning, and I'm going to tell you in a second how we're going to kill the next 8 minutes of the program after these.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Get a free Polar Pop any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a free coffee any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get $5 off any Circle K car wash package when you purchase $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Docomo Pacific's all-new business bundles provide tailored solutions to help your business become a better business. Choose from our Business Basic, Essential, or Value bundles and get unlimited talk and text, worry-free data at home and abroad, plus access to the fastest online speeds in the Marianas. Add on mobile or broadband lines and save up to 20% for each line. Email businesssales@docomopacific.com to find out which bundle provides the best solution for your business. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Where did it go? The time, it's just minutes ago. I started the broadcast, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. We were getting headlines and all of that stuff, and now here it is, just seconds, literally away from the end of the program here. What do you got lined up for today? What are you going to be working on? I'm going to try and see if I can get some additional medication into my system, because frankly, I got stuff I got to do tonight. Tomorrow night, quiz night, Habitat for Humanity. Find the Guam Habitat for Humanity in the book, and tell them that Ray Gibson wants you to be a part of the greatest trivia challenge that has ever existed on Guam. I know, I hear you guys. You're like, oh, yeah, I did trivia down at Abandon or whatever over there, and it was so cool, it was fun. Dude, you haven't done quiz night. You haven't done trivia until you've done quiz night. It is a room, there's 1,000 people in the room. It's massive. Maybe not 1,000, but there's a lot of people in the room, right? Bunch of tables, 6 persons apiece, and I'm up there giving you the questions, and then all you got to do is get it right and make sure that it's spelled correctly. That's also vitally important.
Can idiots play?
It's encouraged.
Okay.
It's encouraged. Well, how do you want it? Like an idiot savant? Because there's
no, I'm not that kind of idiot.
Just regular, just plain old.
Yeah, garden variety.
Because every once in a while there's like you need to every once in a while be like a category that has something to do with math.
Oh.
Okay.
No.
Or sports. Or sports. That, yeah. So it's nice to have a well-rounded team of people, and in the very least, you have somebody that you can count on at least to be able to not screw up a 6-drink order, right? And maybe you can be that guy. You know, there's a program. There was a program on KGTF called the Academic Challenge Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how, but in my senior year at Father Duenas, I found myself on the Father Duenas Academic Challenge Bowl team. Whoa. And let me just say, hi, my name is Ray, 0.5 GPA. I don't know how it happened, but it did. And I never felt so out of place, so fish out of water as I did on that particular one. It's so long ago, I can't remember whether I answered any questions, and if I did, whether they were correct or not. But it's a fun game. Oh, and by the way, guys at KGTF, we need to have another round where it's teachers against teachers, coaches against coaches on the Academic Challenge Bowl. I've hosted that for KGTF in the past, and I absolutely love doing it because, you get some of the same people in the Academic Challenge Bowl coaches that are going to be on teams for quiz night. Question from a listener, can we show up without a team? Yes, you can. You can do that, but a warning, if you do, they might not be able to sit you with somebody. We've had it in the past where we've had enough people and create an ad hoc team, but if it's sold out, there's no place even to put an ad hoc team together for to sit down and to eat and things like that. But it's as will happen sometimes, a team of 6 and then somebody says, "Oh, this is for smart people," and then won't show up. Or, can't get a sitter, or, just the police came or something like that. So, it opens up a spot. So, there's always the chance. And then, if not, then you go upstairs at the Sheraton Lounge and hang out at their lounge, which is called The Point. 9:56 on the actual radio station Point. It is May. This is the payoff on a conversation I tried to start about an hour ago. Welcome to a new month. Month of May. National Chocolate Custard Month. National Barbecue Month.
Okay.
Clean Air Month. It's just stupid. You got to have a thing for clean air. I guess I take for granted the fact that I live on a tropical island, and anything that's floating around here is going to be gone in about 20 minutes because we generally have good breezes that bring new clean air over the island on a regular. Get Caught Reading Month, Hamburger Month, Salsa Month, Bike Month.
I'm all for having salsa put on my hamburger while riding my bike.
I've been riffing on the hamburgers that they serve at Pokey Fry.
Yes, you have.
And they're really, really good. Mm-hmm. But I found something better.
I heard a butt coming up.
I found something better. It's also at Pokey Fry.
Oh.
And it's only available on Tuesdays. Ooh. So I ambled in there on Tuesdays, just hungry as sin, right? And I got in there, and I looked on the specials, and it said crab burger.
Ooh.
Like a Krabby Patty on SpongeBob SquarePants. And I said, "Can I have that?" She says, "I don't know. I got to check. We're usually sold out by now." And sure enough, she comes back. She says, "We can whip one up for you. You want one?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So she gives me this thing. It's like hamburger shape, but it's got a Krabby Patty on the inside. But instead of putting ketchup on it, like a shrimp dip.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that was so nice. Okay, where was I? Barbecue month and burger month, motorcycle awareness month, Women's Health Care month, Older Americans month, National Smile month. National Egg Month, National Salad Month, National Strawberry Month, and as we need to do a better job around here. I know they had a proclamation signing for it the other day, but it is also National Mental Health Month. It is Mental Health Month, and we got people that got issues with drugs. And maybe we can take care of that. We've got people that have got issues with alcohol, and I know that we can take care of that. But we've also got some serious problems around here with people that are displaying deficiencies in their mental health. I'm playing on Facebook Live a video of somebody trying to break into the church up in Jigo. People that, and it doesn't look like it's drunkenness. It's not staggering around. That person has got a purpose one way or the other, but you don't try to break into a church in the small parts of the night unless you've got something going on, some mental health challenges. I hope she gets help. The girl that was speaking in tongues, I hope she gets help. And if you need a touch of that, I hope you get help as well in this National Health Care Month. And I hope it's more than just pretty speeches and proclamation signings. 10 o'clock in the morning, the radio station is KUSG. Got ya. For Michael Knight and Kevin Kerrigan and Blake Watson and the lady in the video throwing rocks at the church. This is Ray Gibson saying thanks so much. Thanks for watching. And we'll get together again tomorrow morning where I'll kill another 4 hours of valuable broadcast time. Fox News Live is next.
He won't appear. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Attorney General William Barr will not testify tomorrow before the House Judiciary Committee.
The Department of Justice and the Attorney General's position all along has been he was prepared to go talk to elected members of Congress, but not staff members.